Silver, what are your thoughts on
still there
M&Ms?
though. I like M&Ms, especially what was it? There was like a recent one that I had that I thought was really good.
Is it the caramel one or something else?
Something else.
Okay.
I like the pretzel ones as well. Those are really good. There was one of them that it was my favorite, and now I can't even remember what flavor it was. Oh well.
And do you like Skittles?
Yeah.
Which one do you prefer though?
What do you mean?
Which
like
one do you prefer?
Colors?
No, I mean, do you
Skittles or
prefer
M&Ms?
Skittles? Oh, you're one of those people.
Well, yeah, because M&Ms don't rot my teeth as much. No, that's literally my reasoning. I've had to deal with cavities, so...
Imagine, I've never had cavities before, actually. Yeah, man, I've just never had cavities. I'm just better.
Yeah, good for you. I haven't had to deal with a terrible health problem before. I'm so good.
Yeah. I'm trying to think of a question, because I asked a weird question at the beginning of the last recording, but I don't think I can replicate it again, because I don't have an idea.
Aw, man.
Oh, shucks.
Aw, heavens to Betsy.
Who? What are we talking about, Betsy?
Yeah, Betsy. Yeah, Betsy.
She's a f***ing class whore.
Wow. What'd she ever do to you? I think you're only mad because she doesn't f you, but she f everyone else.
Hey, okay. Let's change the subject. Speaking of school prostitutes.
Whoa, okay. Now it's interesting.
So I have an anecdote here to open. So I heard about stuff. I don't know. So I'm gonna talk about this. So apparently there was this girl at school last year who she apparently gave head for $5.
I would have charged more.
Exactly, that's what I was thinking. Like, I know it already sounds very bad when you say that, but to me, what I find the problem is, why would you charge just $5 for that? Like, you're putting in the effort to put that shit in your mouth. Like, why would you just $5?
Now,
she was like, "Hey, I ain't straight, but $5. It's $5."
Now, to be clear, I want to, before we carry on with this wonderful story, Xander, this was a high schooler, right? Not a middle schooler?
Oh, no, it was a middle schooler.
Oh.
Yeah. It's bad. It's bad. You don't realize how much shit middle schoolers get into nowadays. I don't know. It's very random. $5 for that shit. And I just don't get it. Man. If you had that much in your mouth, you gotta at least get like hundreds of dollars for that, man. Like,
you act like middle schoolers have like $100 easily just to like throw away.
well, at least like $10. At least $10. Like, come on. Like
$10. Yes, exactly.
Yeah,
$10.
I know. Like, cause $5 feels like, oh, if you're giving me $5, I'll give you like a half-ass head, but not like a good one. That might work. Like, I could give you like a okay head for like $5, and then like a good one for like $10.
Throw it, make it $15, and I'll do the balls as well.
Oh my god.
You can't skip out on them. They need a little love too.
Yeah, that's true.
Is this what we're starting the podcast with?
Yes.
Oh, great.
I mean, look. I've had worse openers, man. Worse ones. Worse.
I'm sure you have.
Look, child prostitution or whatever we're talking isn't the worst thing that's been discussed on this podcast.
I don't know. I think it's pretty up there.
I think it is, yeah. But you know, I mean, we don't want to think about that, you know. You know, let's just, you know how like
You know, I mean, there's some child prostitution in Furiosa, so.
Oh, that's true.
Is there?
There's slaves.
What?
Slaves.
You've seen it twice.
Slaves.
You know.
Anyway, no. What I was thinking was like, you made me lose my train of thought. What I was trying to say, you know how in like the Hays Code, they're like, you can do as much bad as you want, but in the end it has to have a good moral, and the bad guy has to die, no matter how sympathetic you are towards him. So, you know, after we discussed all that, the real moral of this story is, don't do drugs, kids. Don't do drugs. That's the end moral.
I see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Don't do Galaxy Gas. Don't do the Zaza. Don't do Coke. Don't do crack. Don't do you know, all of those things. You know.
Amphetamine. The fentanyl.
Exactly.
What is fentanyl?
Friday, bro. Friday. Speaking of fentanyl, we were talking about Inside Out 2. and Furiosa. Yeah, that's our lead-in.
Oh, we've already started. Okay.
Yeah, that's our lead-in. I've been recording for like the past 6 minutes. These are two sequels that have been long awaited since literally 2015.
I mean, technically one is a prequel.
Shut the fuck up! Fuck you! Fucking whore. Damn. Anyway, what I was saying...
Do you want to explain who this person is who's joined us?
Yes! I'll explain after I explain the fucking movies, man!
I've been here.
He's been here, man. Look. All I'm saying is, these are two movies from 2015 that have been long awaiting their sequel, prequel, whatever.
Wasn't Fury Road in 2014?
No, it was 2015. No. But yeah.
Okay.
Two 2015 movies, and now they both had sequels from this year. One was super successful, the other was a fucking bomb, so that's nice to know. And it turns out...
We know the...
Well, actually, we don't have to talk about it, because you're just gonna have to listen, don't you? You fucking listeners, you've trapped yourselves here. You trapped yourselves.
They have not. They have the right to click off.
But why would they do that? Haven't we hooked them with child prostitution?
I sure hope not.
Okay.
Pretty sure we're gonna get under fire for this, because it might be misconstrued.
Maybe, perhaps so. I might have to fucking censor everything. I don't know. But yeah. So yeah, we'll be talking about Inside Out 2 and Furiosa in that order. So yeah.
And we're gonna talk a little bit about the films that came before them as well, just a little bit though.
Yeah, because to just present the context of the sequels. If you haven't seen them,
one
or have a clear memory of it. Shut the fuck up, you fucking whore. You fucking double piece of shit. We don't need to know. We don't have to insert. You have to insert your little. Actually. We don't need to hear that. No one wants to hear that, man. No one needs that. No one needs that in their lives.
Chill.
It's a prequel spin-off.
You don't need to be specific, you fucking geek. Holy shit. Yeah, just be nice and calm about it, Anyway, who we have here today is Silver. He's been on the podcast before. The Underdog Sandlot episode. That was good. But yeah, you're here because you also watch these movies and you care about them or something. I don't know.
You got some opinions, boy.
I
sure got them.
Opinions.
Yeah. But yeah, we're gonna start with Inside Out / Inside Out 2.
I think we're more aligned on that one.
Yeah. This one we all kind of agree is just meh. It's kind of one of those movies where it's not even a big downgrade, but it is considerable once you actually put some thought into it. Yeah, this is worse than the sequel. But it's not obviously so, because it still has.
It's worse than the sequel. What?
Wait, what?
You said it's worse than the sequel.
You know what? Fuck you. Okay. Look. If you wanna insert your, why don't you introduce it, you fucker? Why don't you introduce it?
All right. Well, do we want to talk a little bit about Inside Out, the first one? Mm-hmm. Ease ourselves in.
Yes.
All right. Inside Out, 2015, Pixar film. Hugely popular, big old success back then. Did it win? I'm pretty sure it won best animated feature, the Oscars.
Yes,
I think so.
Beloved by many. It's very emotional. It hits home quite a bit. It's imaginative. It's creative. I loved it. When it came out, like everyone else. On rewatch, and with some distance, I think because even back when it came out, there was quite a lot of glaring plot holes and a couple bits that raise your eyebrows, but I really think that overall it just about skirts by with it all because of what the film's about and what it's trying to say, what it does say, and I think the ending is also just brings it home and saves the whole thing from just being What about you two?
Yeah, I still like it. I'm not in love with it anymore like I used to when I first watched it, but I still appreciate what it's going for and the core message of it all.
I think that it's fine. I do remember seeing it in theaters, and even as a kid seeing it, I was just that was pretty good, I guess. And I didn't really have much of a desire to watch it again, unlike all of the other good Pixar movies before it, really.
Like Cars.
Yeah.
Yeah, I watched Cars a lot.
Yeah, Cars is great.
Cars
No,
is
Cars was
Cars
only
is a
great
good
when you were a
movie.
kid. When you were a kid.
Nah, it's still great. It's still great.
No, I think
Oh.
it's not great. I don't
think
know
it's
if I would
great.
call it great,
Fuck
but
you,
I
I'm
think
calling it
it's okay. You know,
It's a very funny. It's a
putting
way funnier than I remember it being now that I'm an adult. But I still wouldn't say it's like when you look at like the earlier Pixar stuff before Cars. It's no
I was just
contest, but it
gonna
is.
say,
It's a very funny film.
yeah, it is weaker than like their heavy hitters. But I would say that aside from its obviously questionable world building,
Mhm.
it's a pretty decent story.
Yeah.
When you just focus on what the characters are doing and what's going on there.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Inside Out. Although
Uh,
I'd still say Inside Out is better.
No.
I would say Cars is better because Inside Out having the characters that it has as the emotions has always been kind of strange, which I think everyone can admit to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like both this and the second film have this thing where like the emotion characters are always affecting what's going on with the actual person, which makes it
Mhm.
feel a little fake at times, even though more often than not when the scenes in real life are happening it seems pretty accurate to you know, the average human experience going
Yeah,
through those things.
here's the thing, because when you think about it like that, and you really like step back and look like the dinner scene in the first film, where she gets angry and she gets annoyed at her parents for pestering her. When you think about that, does that mean that the entire adventure that joy and sadness go on through this movie, does that mean that other humans who also have emotions in their heads that control them and everything, does that also mean that they've also gone on the same adventure, like other joys and
That's actually a
sadnesses?
good question. I never thought about that one before.
Yeah.
Oh,
Do they all take
I don't know, man.
I don't know. It's
Uh,
weird because due to the implications of 2, it's weird when you like go back to those parent characters and what's in their heads because it is just like the exact same. And they all
I love
act
the
the same
parents.
too, which is weird because they're meant to be the different emotions of the parents, so that's even weirder.
I think with that, I think it's like
I get it
they-
because I get it. They want to like visually, like distinctly like separate them, but it still comes across as really weird. So
No, I was about to say like the reason why they aren't the parents' emotions aren't so argumentative is because I think it's just that they're older, they're adults, they've got a handle on their emotions, which is sort of what the second one does at the very end, almost. Kind of. I think that's the implication, that they just they have a handle on their emotions and they aren't argumentative with each other because they're adults.
Sort of.
I can get that, but then of course we have the obvious plot hole of where are all the other emotions? Huh, strange.
And that only comes in when you factor in the second one. I mean, actually, no, they do sort of like hint at it at the end of the second one that anxiety is just off in the background. They just push them away.
Yeah, I think that's cheap.
Yeah. I like the
Do you want to talk about Bing? I want to talk about Bing Bong for a
Oh
bit.
yeah, Bing Bong's
Did
good.
anyone cry?
very good.
Does the best character?
Yeah, yes.
Yes, I'd say so. Did anyone cry when they first
No.
watched the film when he disappears?
No, I
Oh,
don't.
when I first did, yeah, of
one of the
course.
saddest deaths in Pixar
I cried
history.
a lot
Mm.
at a lot of movies growing up.
Hmm.
I cried at Rise of Skywalker for the wrong reasons.
What the fuck? Okay.
But was it when Leia died?
Probably. I don't actually remember anymore. I just know that it happened. Anyway,
I didn't cry this time when Bing Bong died. I was just like, oh yeah, that happens. I think it's just because I'm too familiar with it and I've seen it on in the background too many times
I
over
don't
the
know.
last few years.
I was a weird sadistic child, so when I first watched it, I was just
You
like,
laughed.
No, I didn't laugh. Fuck you. No, I didn't laugh. I just stood there like, oh man, that's kind of sad. But I didn't like cry or anything. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe I'm just like.
I don't
Mentally.
think that makes you sadistic.
Yeah, I know. I'm joking. Damn. Everyone takes whatever I say fucking seriously. Holy shit. Like, calm down. I'm not the
I'm
film
just going
expert,
with it,
man.
I'm just having fun.
Okay.
Yeah, we're both having fun. Don't tell us to calm down.
I'll tell you to calm down when I want you to calm down. Damn.
All right, Inside Out 2. Come on, Inside Out 2. We talked about the first one enough. Let's move on into Inside Out 2 2024.
It's bad.
Oh. Yeah, it's kind of bad.
Yeah.
It's not bad that I get like upset with, really,
Oh,
which
yeah,
I
no.
thought I would going
Yeah.
in.
Oh yeah. No, the funny thing about all of that was leading up to this is that me and Silver, we took this sort of weird oath where we're not gonna watch this fucking movie, and we should have refused it. Well,
And
everyone.
That's why we have this episode, because we refuse to watch both
Yeah.
of these movies. It's like, that's so annoying. They made like 15 sequels this year.
Yeah, I was like,
why?
I was watching the trailers for like the second movie, and I just thought this looks ass. I don't want to see it. And then once it started coming out, I was like, okay, yeah, they want this safe success, but it's not gonna work. And I should have seen it coming, but it did work, and now it's the most successful animated film. I think so. I forget. Did it pass the
I
Lion
checked
King?
it the other day.
Okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is, Pixar, they had the whole discussion where they said, I think Pete Docter said that they're going to focus more on sequels and less original and more personal ideas. And this is the representation of that to me, which is weird because that statement doesn't make any sense once you look at the movie, because even though it's bad, it has a good sort of personal message to it. So it's kind of a lie, but even then, it still does represent like Pixar still going down in this like sequels, less personal ideas direction, because they're obviously gonna make the sequel like 9 years later, and it worked. It made like billions of dollars, so yeah.
Yeah.
And I was pissed off for a bit, but like fuck it. Now I'm here watching the movie, and I thought, yeah, it's bad, but I don't really care that much about it at all, so I mean, I guess bygones be bygones, fuck it. And yeah, I don't know. I don't have like particular strong feelings on it. I just think obviously like what everyone's pointing out about it. And plus like being so late to this, I'm just like thinking I don't get what people fucking saw in this. I kind of get it. But at the same time, like, yeah, it just falls into the same pitfalls as the first one, but just kind of more ambitious and worse. So, yeah.
Yeah, it's weird to me that it was just, like, as incredibly successful as it was in a way. It's like, I partially get it, but at the same time, nobody really talked about it outside of, like, Letterboxd users.
Yeah.
Hey, just like Avatar 2.
Yeah, it's like Avatar 2. It's just like everyone saw it, but nobody really talks about it because it's really not that good.
I mean, they talked about it like when it came out, but there hasn't been much chatter now, like months after.
Like it was the same thing where I was like, this is the most successful movie this year so far, like Avatar 2, but no one I know has watched it or talked about it when it was first coming out.
You know, a successful film from this year that people are still talking about since it came out?
What?
The Deadpool and Wolverine.
Oh.
Why do you have to deter us from like from normal garbage to like your superhero turds? I don't care about that shit.
My superhero turds.
Yes, I know. No, you two care so much about this fucking Marvel shit. I don't really give a fuck. Like leave me alone.
Okay, man. Listen.
All right.
Chill.
I frankly don't give a fuck about that shit. Nope, I don't want to know anything about it.
Okay, man.
Don't want to know anything.
You have
about
you have a different history with it.
Yeah.
It's all right. It's okay, man.
I'm done. I'm done.
Okay.
I just stop talking. I don't know what you're on about. Yeah.
All right.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Let's
Let's talk about Inside Out 2 then, huh?
Yeah.
let's steer it back to Inside Out 2. Come on.
I wanted to, like make some points. Just going through it. We all know it's like they introduced the concept of beliefs in this, which just were not a thing in the first one at all.
So what's confusing to me is
hold on, she never had beliefs before.
I thought the islands were the beliefs. I thought they were always like kind of.
The islands are islands of personality.
Yeah, but like personality is also your beliefs as well.
Like
the way you act is based on your beliefs, though. So I don't know. That's kind of what I've always thought.
The way you act, sure, I get that. I do think that it's different enough to be
I get that.
fair, but it's just like this should have existed before. Like most of the concepts they introduce here,
I think
when she's sarcastic, it causes a sarcasm for all the characters to get impeded by. And it's just like, hold on, she's been sarcastic before, right?
Yeah.
Did that always create chasms that cause massive destruction to the interior workings of her mind?
Nope.
Because, like, stuff falls down there and gets destroyed. Like, when the family islands break, like, all the islands break down in the first one, it's like breaking stuff off of the cliffs. I'm like...
Yeah, enjoying Bing Bong gets thrown down into the dump.
It's just like, why does this affect all this other stuff? I don't really understand. Like, are you sarcastic if you're sarcastic all the time, do you, like, destroy the inner workings of your brain?
So that's what the implications is. So yeah.
I think in the instance of that, the sarcasm, I think it was just like a joke someone wrote when they were in the writers' room. Hey, guys! Have you heard of a sarcasm? And everyone was like, "Oh fuck yeah, put that in."
It's literally just a dad joke being taken literal. So yeah, that's
it is.
I thought it was funny.
Introduce this thing without really thinking it through much at all, which is not something that the first movie isn't guilty of either, but it's just, like, doubled here. It's just like, Joy made a new mechanism that's integral to the plot that can just eject all of these memories to the back of her mind. It's like, how'd she do that?
And why did these bad memories not just go in long term like the other ones in the first film? Why did these ones in particular get sent over there?
Well, because she wants to get rid of them.
I guess, but like, I'm pretty sure there are like very embarrassing and very shitty memories in her long term already.
Yeah, it's just weird because, like, this didn't exist till now, but now she's like, keep the best, lose the rest, which is, like, integral to the movie, where they have to accept that Riley has to believe all that she is. She can't just suppress all the negative things that she does.
Yeah.
Speaking of, like, new controls, that's when the fucking blob people, they just kind of smash in, unlike the last movie where they literally just, like...
The mind workers.
Yeah, where they were actually just, like, they calmly just repaired it. But no, they just barge in, and they have this new control panel, and then that's when
they just don't explain anything to them while they're doing it.
Yeah.
It's just, the blob people in both movies, I'm always confused by...
They just don't give a fuck. They're just so chill and nonchalant.
Well, no, it's just like, it's inconsistent. Some of them know exactly who the emotions are. Some of them don't. And I'm just like, do you guys care? Because they're, like, extremely integral to, this entire society functioning in the first place.
Yeah, I'm very confused.
It's especially weird when anxiety is able to tell them to imprison the other emotions. I'm just like, where did you get the authority to do that? And why do the cop dudes go with this?
Yeah.
I don't know, it feels weird because they just act sort of just like plot devices. They feel whatever the plot wants them to feel, and it just kind of allows shit to happen. Because they don't ever take advantage of the fact that they exist. They're just kind of there. And it's weird.
I said it in I think I said it when I read it when I wrote my review for the second film. Because it has pretty much just fallen into, like, the Cars trap, where if you tug at, like, one thread of the world building, everything just fucking falls apart. So I did bring up the mind workers when I talked about it. Like, why is like the mind of a person so, like, structured with, like, normal rational things? Why is there a police station? Like, I know it's, like, shorthand for, like, visual references for a film audience, but in universe, it's too, like, normal, and it doesn't really work at all. Like it's just like a movie studio in your head that makes dreams. That's funny. That's imaginative, and the way they realize it is smart. But it just doesn't really work on a logistical level.
Yeah, it's just like on a surface level, it's pretty neat and kind of funny when you first look at it, and then the more you think about it, the more it just It just doesn't release the same kind of emotions, I think, anymore once you think about it. Because it's just a weaker script in general. Like, speaking of, like, dreams, I noticed, like, at the beginning of this movie, all the emotions go to bed and are woken by, like, the destruction stuff going on. And I'm just like, is Dream Duty gone now? Because there was Dream Duty in the first movie, where one of them would always stay awake, and it's just not there. And as we,
I feel like that whole thing would have been, like, easily solved if you had one of the emotions just stay up for night watch and get the others to wake up because they heard something.
Could have been Fury again, but they didn't do that.
It's such like an easy, like a small thing.
It's a small thing. It's just like they all add up, and it leads to a less fulfilling experience for just anyone in general.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, oh,
I
it
get-
doesn't bother me. It's like, oh, it can bother a lot of people though. And if it was better,
I think
you
it
wouldn't
bothers
really
me when the
be complaining.
inconsistencies just pile up, like you said.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we've discussed before, it's just like the new emotions are just like
Yeah.
extensions of emotions that already happened in the first movie.
So we have envy, we have embarrassment, and we have anxiety, and we also have what's the last one again?
Boredom.
Boredom.
Which is like she's named
Ennui.
Ennui.
Ennui. And
She's French.
embarrassment.
I don't know.
Embarrassment classifies towards sadness. I don't know. Anxiety relates to fear. So I don't know why they chose to do what they did.
I mean, I searched up after the film because I was also thinking, well, why is anxiety here when fear already exists? So I searched it up, and anxiety is apparently like medically, it's like a completely different emotion to fear. Like just like in the film where they explain that fear is like stuff you can. Fear is there for like rational stuff that you can see. Anxiety is for stuff that you can't see.
Yeah, but
That
you
you
see
get scared
fear
of.
himself display anxiety throughout
Yeah.
the first movie, so it's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
kind of bizarre.
Yeah,
Like
it's
even
weird. I don't know. Like
they even have a line where
I don't know. I feel like,
Joy is talking to him in the morning, and he says like he's thought up of these horrible
Yeah.
situations they might
Yeah.
get into,
yeah.
which is something that they have anxiety do in this movie. I'm just like, oh, fear already did that.
Yeah, instead it's automated to this like 1984 thing. But like the thing I've always thought about is that like the main emotions, if when I was a kid I used to think, why isn't just like a bunch of other emotions exist? That's kind of like the whole sequel idea, like there's that, but like to me the fact that they're characters means they embody so many different aspects of that same thing. So, I just kind of worked around that and just thought of it that way instead of just
And
like
having,
being
like-
literal about it. Like it could have been interesting
and
if
having-
like, but the whole thing with any of the movies, like you can have those mixed feelings. But I guess another thing with this one is like feelings of feelings. Like there's more of a layer to it. But it's like you don't need these separate characters to make that come across. You could expand that with just the same characters. But they decide not to because it's more marketable to be like, oh, we have these new emotions voiced by all these people like Maya Hawke and Ayo Edebri. That's like kind of the whole. Yeah. Okay, man. Killed the mood. Killed the mood, man.
Oh yeah, and putting that aside, there was like they had one other emotion just for like two jokes. It's just nostalgia.
Is nostalgia even an emotion?
It isn't. I don't think.
I'm gonna double check. I'm pretty sure it's a feeling.
Because it's strange. Because nostalgia is something that has already been well shown in both of these movies. It's just whenever they have one of the emotions bring back another memory from the day or
they
from
recall
a long
one.
time before, and just have it screen onto the little eye
really,
screen.
all the emotions have already felt themselves nostalgia, so I don't know.
And they even have one of them say, it's like, oh, you can't be around for another 10 years. It's like, oh, you have to wait to be like 23.
You can't be nostalgic for like your current age, like being 13. Like that does exist. Like you could be nostalgic for being a fucking baby if you wanted to. Like, you really
Let me have a look here. Yeah, no, I just searched it up here. So nostalgia is a feeling of sentimentality or yearning for the past, often for a time or place. So yeah, it is a feeling. It's recognized as a feeling.
But it's a feeling that should always exist. You shouldn't wait for it for 10 years. That just sounds dumb. So she only basically feels nostalgia when she turns 23. Is kind of crazy, but yeah.
When we get to the main crew of emotions being imprisoned, we are introduced to like 3 different characters, I think.
Yes, yes we are.
The video game guy, the cartoon, like sort of Dora.
The Dora the Explorer kind of guy.
And the Dark Secret, who's just Orion in the Dark.
Yeah, he is literally he's just the Dark himself from Orion
looks
in the Dark.
exactly the same.
Yeah, just like under even more shadow. It's weird.
This is better than Orion in the Dark, we can say that much.
Oh yeah, that movie was fucking nonsense.
So I can't say anything.
Yeah, that movie was fucking nonsense.
It's terrible. don't bother.
The last act was actually like, it's super weird. It's super weird to think that Kaufman wrote that, but at the same time, it makes so much sense at the same time. So I don't know, but yeah,
I was gonna say like the video game guy. He gets a little on my nerves because his design doesn't fit like any console era.
Is your opinion?
I mean, it looks vaguely
vaguely
early
PS2,
2000s,
but then It feels vaguely PS2, but it also looks too textured for that to be it either. So I don't know.
Yeah, and then they have him like do a little gag where he can't like walk through the door unless he's positioned in a proper way. I'm just like,
It's weird because he for some
I
reason
think that's like PS2.
he's
that's like earlier.
he's from for some reason. I mean, the thing is, he's from a fighting game, but at the same time, he's moving around in a three-dimensional space. He doesn't act like a 2D, like everything's a 2D space.
It's not like Rumble McSkirmish from Gravity Falls and all the and all the jokes they make about it, where he falls on the floor and they think, okay, I'm gonna like roll him up and like put him on my wall. when he falls on the floor and he can't get back up.
Yeah, it's good.
Flat up.
Yeah, we could have had so many gags with that, but they just decided to go do it the lazy way. And then he has
I like the special attack he does. That's funny.
It's funny. It leads to like the most convenient action sequence in the entire film.
But I don't know. That's kind of the whole joke about it. So I don't know.
It's the joke. It's just
where it looks ineffective.
I don't really like jokes that are entirely convenience.
But funny. So oops.
Oh well. Oh well.
I don't know if you really think about it.
He doesn't show up again after that point. I thought he would at least come back in like the final 20 minutes.
Yeah, he never did. It was weird.
If you really think about it, just like
is there a post-credit scene to this film?
There is a post-credit scene.
There was?
Oh yes, I remember. Yes, there was. I remember now what it was. But we'll talk about that in a minute when we get to it.
Anyway, no. What I was saying is like all these like different jokes they're trying to do. I feel like the movie would be so much better if we just did take it seriously. Like you wouldn't have to question like that whole convenience thing of that whole gag because everything has to be taken so like goofy. But no, this is like a serious movie. Talk about like actual like teen problems. So you know.
Yeah, and there are stakes to what Riley's doing throughout the movie.
Yeah, like the Dream Studio, like all that shit could easily be like a fucking like Key and Peele or like SNL gag. But instead, it's a Pixar movie that's trying to be, you know, super like emotional and whatever. So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
that's kind of what emphasizes the problem in general. So yeah,
I do kind of like the little cartoon dude though. He's kind of funny.
It's funny because he's literally just
the pouch from Uncle Grandpa.
Yeah, it's literally one of them is just the pouch from Uncle Grandpa. All I'm saying is, there's a reason why they probably stole it for it because Uncle Grandpa's great. There you go. That makes sense.
Something I want to mention, just like relating both films together, is like at one point they try and get Sadness to go through the recall tube, which has an entirely different structure to it now than in the first movie, and they try and fix the plot hole from the first movie by saying someone has to recall them from HQ for that to work. Which that's just not true. Because we saw Joy going through it for like a good few seconds in the first movie, so it's
because the tube is broken and then she fixes it. So she fixes the tube and then she gets sucked up into it and then it breaks and then she falls out of it into the dump.
It's just like it just kind of annoyed me. It's like, oh look, see, this is why it didn't work in the first movie. I'm like, no.
But I wasn't even thinking about that though.
I watched the first movie. It's like, you know, all the beliefs. When they're in the little belief pool. All of them have little blue things, the little blue strings, except anxieties are like all orange. Like
because they're bad. That's how you know they're bad.
Like, why aren't angers red? Why aren't fears purple? Like, what's the deal?
Even though isn't it like the whole point where we're supposed to like accept all our emotions?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's strange. It's for the sake of the visual more than
visual shorthand, I guess. But again, I didn't really need that.
Yeah,
you already get what it is when you like strum them and it says the thing.
Yeah,
it's also weird
because if we're already so used to like every emotion's colors that when you introduce the orange one in there, that doesn't seem like it would be a problem visually. So I don't know why.
I don't know. But the weird thing to me as well is like the sarcasm when it happens. It's shown that like the food that goes down the stream of consciousness ends up in the belief pool. Which I don't know how that works. I don't know why the sarcasm doesn't go down into the forgetting pit.
The dump.
Like there's just you just fall down there, you go to the belief pool, which is then not integral for the end climax of the movie.
I mean, I guess you could like argue that it's the mind. It's not meant to be like literal, but then like
everything
the whole
is
world
literal.
is structured. That's the problem because the whole thing is literal.
It seems like a movie where it's like the concept is really hard to pull off because you kind of have to be more abstract about it. Because if you take it super literally, it's just gonna be like, it's just not gonna work because the brain has so much functions. So like, you just can't put that into like, oh, such a cohesive like normal story. There has to be more.
Literally, when I watched the first film again and I wrote about it, I said, all you really need for like the Inside Out to like work properly, to like avoid all like the world building and stuff, because while I appreciate what they do, it just all doesn't really like fit together. What you really need is just the emotions in headquarters and like little other things, and that's it. You don't need the whole like load of other things that go on outside of headquarters. Really, all you just need is like just the 5 emotions, and that's it.
Yeah. Another thing I wanted to say is just like, this movie in general is a fair bit less funny than the first.
Yeah.
I get that as well.
It's not like actively unfunny.
Oh yeah.
It just feels weaker on that front.
Yeah. I can't really explain it because they kind of just do like the same shtick for each character again. But maybe it just doesn't hit the same way because like most of the voice actors are gone.
Yeah, I don't know.
Bill Hader and Mindy Kaling are not there anymore.
Yeah, no. What I find weird is that Fear is just now voiced not by Bill Hader but by like Tony Hale, and I just don't think he sounds as funny when it's Tony Hale. I just don't think it works for me. Mindy Kaling, I could go either way with, but it's weird because those two are just underplayed a lot for the most part. Besides Fear randomly having a parachute, that was weird.
Because he's always got to be prepared. Hey, wait a second. Isn't that the whole thing with anxiety that you prepare for like an outcome that you can't see coming?
Like, how about that? The movie fighting itself again. I do like when they go to Imagination Land and there's this like this gossip sort of thing going on. And Anger gets really upset with it, which is kind of a neat callback to when he was reading all the newspapers.
Journalistic integrity is gone, and it's super funny. Yeah.
Where's the journalistic integrity?
Yeah. I miss that guy, because it is just like kind of that one joke. I miss it.
I wanted to talk a little bit about the belief system, like the whole thing with like the pool of all of them.
Mm-hmm.
You said how they don't, it's not like a thing in the first one. I can kind of understand why it's only included in this one now, because I think, like, when you're a kid, you don't really care about how you perceive yourself or what you want to be. I think as you get old, when you do get older, you start to, like, think about yourself more as a person and you know, like, what you believe in. Because I can speak from personal experience that I have thought more a lot about who I am and what I believe in and stuff as I've gotten older.
Yeah,
so
I
can certainly understand that, but I would also object because I certainly did think of some of these things when I was a kid, you know, before this age range.
It really does like depend on who you are. I don't know. Teachers lately they've been telling me, "Oh, this is like the age when you start to understand like what do you truly believe in." But I don't know. I feel like even in that sort of like concrete way, it does sort of happen even when you're a little kid subconsciously. It's not like I don't know how I would describe it, but
it's not as prominent.
Yeah, it's just not as prominent. It's like, but like when you're older, it's like something concrete that you understand in your head. But like when you're a kid, it's just something you think subconsciously based on like what people are telling you or what you personally like find. Oh, I shouldn't do this, but I should do this.
It's all based on your personal experiences and the fact that your brain develops to better function throughout all the way to like age 25, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I personally think the belief system only be including in this one still works, but again, I think it is like mildly subjective because everyone develops at like different rates. So,
yes, fair enough. It's just I don't think the film is all too strong with it, considering like all the other internal inconsistencies and issues that are just worse than the first.
Yeah.
And like I kind of like, you know, of course the message is going for it feels a little more ambitious than the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But I would like to say that I like this movie, but I don't really see myself rewatching it like at all.
Yeah.
As opposed to I could certainly rewatch the first one and have a good time for at least the fact that it's consistently pretty funny.
Yeah. Editing's genuinely great as well.
Yeah, that ending's good.
Yeah, I like what they're going for. To me, like the whole bottom and up thing, I feel like it was kind of underplayed. Like the whole thing with the first one for me, is since like Joy and Sadness had that whole dynamic, it was a lot more clear where the message was going. But in this, it just kind of happens, and it makes sense. But I don't know. It doesn't feel like the film clearly communicates it the best to me, or as effective as that first one. And it's not even like I like the first one that much. So,
but to give this film some credit, it is not exactly what I thought it was going to be.
Yeah.
It is not an exact replica of the first film, just over again with more emotions, which is what I fully expected from the trailers. So
it doesn't do it the best, but I do like it is still like trying something. It doesn't feel as uncreative or as boring as something like Lightyear, what they did.
And its heart is in the right place.
Certainly.
For sure, this is, I would say, like the best Pixar sequel since Toy Story 3. But I would still say that it's not
that's
good.
14 years ago, Silver.
I know.
Hey, I like Monsters University. It's cool. I kind of like
No,
it.
that's a prequel.
Well.
Oh yeah, Monsters University is probably better than this.
Yeah, exactly. We can't forget that one. But yeah. So overall, yeah, just whatever.
Yeah. Do we have much more to say on stuff?
Yeah, it's weird.
Inside Out 2?
I was anticipating a lot more to say about this, but frankly, it's just kind of like, yeah, it's kind of bad. But I'm fine with it being like the most successful thing. It doesn't make complete sense to me.
It's kind of inoffensive.
Yeah.
Is the thing.
Yeah.
It works. I'm glad it worked for certain people, but I just don't think it fully works. But doesn't mean it has a good heart or it does work in certain places. It's just kind of
Yeah. Yeah, I just want to say, like, everything they do about Riley and what she goes through in the film, I think is great. But when you look at it internally and look at all the internal mechanics and everything, it just sort of like falls short.
Yeah. For sure. But that's kind of
one more thing.
Like that,
one more thing I want to talk about this film. One more thing I want to talk about Inside Out 2. We got to talk about the gay. We got to talk about gay. Is Riley Anderson gay? Because there's all the things that came out that said they wanted to make Inside Out 2 less gay, but I still think
they said less. They said less gay doesn't mean not gay. So, yeah, this movie's woke. Yeah.
When I want to talk to the post-credit scene, I'm bringing that back now. I thought Riley's like deep dark secret was going to be that she was lesbian. I thought they were going to like do that in the post-credit scene.
Nah, they don't have the balls for that.
It was a shitty joke. It was a shitty joke, and I was like, "This is the chance.
Yeah.
You could have done that. You could have slipped it past the China, just in the post-credit scene. Not many people might see it. You could have done it, and you would have scored like genuine points, and it would have been funny, and it would have been great. But it's, I don't know.
Although I think that would be kind of weird that like nobody would know that except for Deep Dark Secret, the character.
That doesn't make any sense because like you still feel those feelings even if it's internal. So yeah. I mean, what do you think of like the cast of the new fucking emotions like themselves? Cause I don't know, it's weird we barely talk about them because really anxiety is like the most important one besides like embarrassment.
I like Maya Hawke.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean they sound good.
Yeah.
Like I don't really have that much to say. I think they fit in fine.
Embarrassment, I think he's the best one of the lot. I like him.
Anxiety, I like the whole.
He's kind of a bro.
I like the whole thing with that. Envy, I don't think about much, even though the girl who voices it, Ao Debris, is in like one of my favorite shows right now. So yeah, there's that.
And she's in Big Mouth.
Okay, well, fuck you. But yeah, embarrassment was cool because I thought he was just gonna be like that one lame joke at the beginning, but he does help out in what's going on. It's cool.
He's got autonomy. He's not just a joke.
Yeah, it's cool, and he does like the obvious thing where he's gonna talk in the end, and it's good. I like his character. Boredom, I don't have any strong feelings.
Ennui.
Why does she have an app that can control the console?
Oh yes, where did you get the phone from that has the app? It's the same thing with like Fear's parachute. Where do you get a parachute from? What is like the rules of how do you get the materialize out of thin air?
Don't think about it rationally. You gotta think about it rationally and not rationally. That's the thing.
But this whole thing is like structured.
No. Don't think about it. Just don't think about it.
How much autonomy and independence do the mine workers have? Are they like working towards a goal or something, or do they know they have to do this thing no matter what? What if the mine workers strike? What if they don't want to work anymore?
We'll just be vague about it. Shh.
What if they go on like a? What if the dream makers go on like a strike and they don't want to make films? They don't.
Oh
wanna
yeah,
do
wait, that'd be
anymore.
funny.
It has to be like,
Oh,
they unionize.
Can they do like a Writers Guild joke? They would have been so funny. They would have.
Oh,
they should have done that.
They definitely would not have.
No, they should have though. It would have been really funny. Fuck.
They would have,
Damn it.
but then I think this film might have been too far along for them to include that.
Yeah,
I think.
yeah, probably. Because this movie probably
Anyway.
took like 5 years to develop, like most anime
Yeah.
movies. So yeah. Oh well.
But yeah, no. Yeah, all that stuff, all the mine worker stuff, I still just don't understand it.
They are easily just the weirdest factor to me. So yeah, I don't know. Got anything else?
I don't think so.
Do you like
wow.
the joke?
Less
Do
than
you like
I
the
had
joke
thought we
with
would
the
say.
overworked animators? Do you like that joke?
I know there was a video out there. It's like, oh, it's such a deep commentary on like how on the Pixar's like animation
It's really
team.
not.
It's
It's
really
not
not
deep at all.
It's really not, because first of all, why would Pixar allow that message to slide in? It's clearly within the context of, oh, anxiety is trying to overwork them into trying to think of very bad situations. You know, that's kind of the whole thing. I like that angle. It's kind of cool. I find it really funny that they're just like doing the whole 1984 thing, but besides that,
I don't know. I find it kind of surface level. Kind of
Yeah.
reminds me of like hate to bring it back, but Deadpool and Wolverine. At one point, Deadpool said,
la 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 la. I can't hear you. La 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 la.
"To you."
Oh,
La, 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 la.
Len Cook.
No,
Len Cook.
no. Okay,
Let him cook.
I'm gonna plug my ears. I'm not gonna hear anything of what you say about this fucking
Alright,
movie.
I will.
Give me
I will
like
hear
30
it.
seconds.
Yeah. Silver, do it.
He says,
Say it.
like, "Welcome to the MCU. You joined at
Oh,
kind
yeah.
of a low point." And
Yep.
that's like as hard as they go with making fun of themselves throughout the movie, really.
Oh, he also says like the multiverse shtick is like overplayed and it's not working. He
Yeah,
says
but
that
it's,
later
also,
on.
it's just the most basic things they could say. It feels
Yeah.
like they were approved in a boardroom.
Yeah, we want to be
so
like hip
toothless.
with we want to be hip with our audience, but we don't want to be like too hip because you know it's us. We get it.
And it just it's annoying because like the film has the same problems as all the other terrible movies they've been releasing as well. So
Can I unplug my ears?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah, we're good.
Okay.
At least we had Channing Tatum as Gambit, and yeah, he
Shut
was
up.
very happy to have
I
that.
got
even
so
though I
Look, I got so tired on Twitter hearing this fucking same thing he said. Ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself. I don't care. I don't give a fuck.
I thought you were,
man.
I thought you were gonna say that you were sick of him like hearing about how he's always wanted to play Gambit ever since he was like a kid.
Well, yeah, I'm sick of that too, but I keep hearing, ooh, I'm about to make a name for myself, which was kind of funny, like, for the first, like, 10 times, but then after I saw, like, the millionth joke about it, I was like, shut the fuck up, I don't want to hear anything about this anymore.
I didn't like the thing about him playing Gambit. Like I'm happy for him that he got to play it and he clearly enjoyed himself on set. But him in the film, he's just, I don't know. This is it. This is just it for him as Gambit. Like, why can't he be there for like an X-Men film?
Love how they got some of the original actors for the cameos and then just some of them didn't at all.
Well, they mentioned that Daredevil died. So Ben Affleck's Daredevil is not there anymore.
It just seems
I
kinda
think they
lazy.
did. It's like a thinly veiled joke.
Stupid.
Alright,
Let's move on. We're
Okay.
not talking
Yeah, I was about to
Deadpool
plug my
and
ears
Wolverine
again,
anymore.
bro. I was about to plug my
Alright.
ears in.
All right. Let's bring it back. Inside Out 2. Are we done? Are we done on Inside Out 2?
Yeah,
We
I
close
don't
the
know.
book.
I really thought I was gonna say more, but yeah. I don't
Or do you think we'll have a third one?
I
don't
wouldn't be
know. I wouldn't be
surprised.
surprised, but like, it doesn't seem like they would just do that out of nowhere.
I wouldn't be surprised, but I think at that point the audience would be
Tired
like
of it.
a little less relatable in general because of, Riley would be at least a couple of years older. There's going to be less relatable situations than the ones that she's gone through in these
I
two.
kind of understand why this one really didn't make bank, because it's also like that gap allowed the people, like the little kids who watched it, to grow up and then now watch this new movie, which is what probably raked in a lot of the money. But at the same time, yeah.
Then again, it's like my mum. My mum went to go see it without me because I was at uni. And when I came back home and I asked her, "Oh, how was Inside Out 2?" She said, "Yeah, it was good. I really liked it. The ending as well, like really like resonated with me. Like it fucked me over." And I was like, "Oh, interesting." And my mum's like, like mid-40s, so it
Yeah.
is. I say it does appeal
it's
to
a very
everyone.
universal experience.
Yeah,
film.
this is like because if they're gonna do this again, she's gonna be an adult. So
I really hope
relate
she's
to
an adult. They don't have to
audience.
have her do high school again because I really just can't be asked watching another
Yeah,
high school depiction.
Look, it's either gonna
I just want her to be an adult.
because this is transition like that higher level. But like, if they're gonna do that, it's just gonna come across as lazy. But if they do the adult angle, it's not gonna be as universally appealing. So
Well, at least a young adult, at least,
Maybe.
not like a full adult. Because we already get that with the parents, who are the best characters.
Okay,
They're pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but like Incredibles is like one of the best Pixar films, and that doesn't even like the main character is like a middle-aged man.
Well,
Most of it is all about like
different.
adult problems.
Part of that I would say is just like the fact that the superhero angle there is just kind of like attracting to
because
like a smaller audience.
That's what I like about that
It's kind of
movie,
like
because it's like both
in a
entertaining,
way-
but like it still has that angle because that's the
It's in a-
subtext. Yeah.
it's in a way of just like Joker or the Penguin show that's come out where it's only really using like the superhero or comic book angle to make like an actual movie with that concept.
Mm-hmm.
I guess so.
Although Incredibles, I would certainly say like incorporates it more.
Yeah, because that movie is like going into like the idea of like how would a superhero work in that time, so it's cool. But yeah, I don't know. But this, because you're so like entangled with the idea of like age and like emotions, because that's the whole concept. So you can't really like sugarcoat that at all once you like try to do like the adult angle. So yeah.
Yeah, it could happen. It's just I doubt that it would be anywhere near successful.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe people finally caught on. Maybe this is a bit overplayed now, because I certainly felt that a bit with the second one.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Who knows? But yeah.
I think that's about it for Inside
About
Out
it.
2. So ratings. What are we giving ratings?
Hey, Crick, you gave it.
I gave it a 5, or like a 2.5, 4.
4. Close to a 5, but like I don't know. I think the first one's a 5, so I can't like in all honesty put them on the same level.
First one for me is like a 6.
First one for me is a 7.
Mm.
It used to be a 9.
Okay, that's 2. Yeah, that seems about
All
right.
right.
All right, so that's Inside Out 2, people. Now it's time to move on to the more interesting.
All right. So this is the part where I take a back seat and let you guys argue. Yep.
Oh no.
Yep.
Okay. Man.
So we're talking. Okay, let's first talk about Fury Road. But yeah, we're talking about Fury Road, and mainly, of course, the main dish of Furiosa, the prequel to Fury Road. Yeah, I'm just gonna. You introduce it, Silver. Go on.
All right. First off, I want to say a few things about Fury Road. I've seen it 3 times now. The first 2 times, I wasn't too keen on it because first time had to keep the volume really low, and I was watching it with my sister at our grandma's house. I thought it was cool, but then I didn't really think about it much after that.
Yeah.
And the second time I watched it with my dad, it was also pretty low volume, and I just wasn't a fan of it after having gone through the first 3. Because I wasn't already a big fan of those in the first place. I thought the first 2 were good. The third one's and then this one I was just like, oh, this is stupid. There's like multiple like kind of obvious plot issues that screwed with me that really took me out of really appreciating what it has going for it, really.
Mm-hmm.
And this time on a rewatch, just all alone, keeping the volume up in my headphones, I got really invested, and I thought it was really cool. And before this, I had gone through the first 3 movies again and read the prequel comics to Fury Road that George Miller and the writer for this movie were involved with. and it kind of connects the gap of the third movie to this one, while providing some backstory for Immortan Joe, Nux, the war boy, Furiosa, and Max leading up to the movie.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought they were all pretty neat. Like, not amazing, but they fit the universe. I thought they were really cool, and I got a better grasp of their characters and why they, do certain things in Fury Road. And then watching Fury Road on its own, I was like, oh, okay. I actually appreciate a lot more what's going on here. It's just a lot of it is pretty subtle. It's pretty simple.
Mm-hmm.
I find them. I found that I actually, grew to care about Max, Furiosa, and especially Nux, going through their journey there.
Yeah.
And I was like, there's still a few plot issues that I think, could use a little bit of tuning up. Like, Green Place is like way too close to the Citadel to make all that much sense. And
but
it's like
a couple days away.
Yeah, it's just like that would have been discovered by now. With
I guess, but they need they explained in Furiosa they need to look at the stars, the constellations to know
what?
No.
That's bullshit.
No,
Wait, what?
No.
What are you talking about?
No, hold on now. Because we're going to get to that when talking about actual Furiosa. Because Furiosa, the movie, only really undermines what's going on in Fury Road. Because a little bit of backstory. Actually a whole lot of backstory. George Miller wrote 800 pages of backstory for Furiosa and Max. Wow. He planned to make prequel movies for both her and Max, which would be Mad Max The Wasteland. Since
but like the last 3 films are Mad Max prequels, pretty much.
Yeah,
they're all about him.
Yep, but he wanted to do another one because he had a whole lot planned for this story, and they kind of just were like, "Can we have this section for the movie, George?" And he's like, "Okay, fine." The production for Fury Road is kind of terrible.
A nightmare, a fucking nightmare, because the weather conditions weren't good. George Miller was very demanding. It was because everything had to be practical. You tried to make most things practical, so it was very difficult, especially considering what you see in the movie. So, obviously, actresses, they weren't, especially like Charlize.
Well, Tom Hardy was miserable on set, but not for in the film, not for being in the film, for like other external factors. And Charlize Theron has said, I think she doesn't want to work with George Miller anymore.
No, she doesn't. That's why they couldn't ever use her likeness in the movie. Mm-hmm. And so in that original script they had, it was not this movie. Furiosa's backstory was not this movie.
Mm-hmm.
She was a child taken from the Green Place, but there was nothing about Dementus or any of the faction that he controls. And then, she was just more so like taken directly for Immortan Joe.
Yeah, I mean like all the Dementus stuff is like flavor text originally, pretty much.
Yeah, in that, like, she was taken as a child bride.
Yeah.
So there we go. There's connection to the first part of the podcast for you. Mm-hmm. But that's kind of important because then it was discovered she was barren, and she was given as a gift to the war rig driver at the time, which is why she's in the position she's in Fury Road. And it makes a whole lot of sense because she clearly spent a lot of time with the brides. And even in the prequel comics, they have her watch over the brides as sort of a security guard for a good while. Yeah. So it makes a lot of sense for her to be so sympathetic towards them in Fury Road and take them to where they want to go. And I thought it made a lot of sense. I thought it was pretty cool. And Miller changed this for the movie because this is his reasoning. he didn't think a character who'd been a sex slave would be a good hero.
Oof.
Did he say why, or did he just throw it out there?
Yeah, he put it out there.
Yeah, it's
No,
weird.
but did he explain why? Like a character who was a sex slave wouldn't be a good hero.
No,
Or
he
did he just
said
say it?
This is
You
like
just
in
said it.
interviews and stuff. It's just like, I don't know. I find that extremely insulting.
Because I don't. To me, like Furiosa's like that self-made hero. That's kind of the whole idea, like what they're trying to do in this movie, and why her freeing the wives is so important. Because it's sort of like getting their own control, and by saying, "Oh, someone who comes from like that life can't be a hero," is like feels very demeaning and counter to what the idea of her character is.
Doesn't it like downplay the brides in Fury Road as well? Because they kick a fair amount of ass themselves. Because they're not they don't just like sit around on the sideline. They're also like helping along the
because the
like, getting
brides,
to the Greenland.
part of why they are the way they are is the fact that they were so privileged in their position in the Citadel. Like, they are very well educated, and because of this, had more of a conscience about what was happening to them, and that's why they wanted to escape in the first place. You know, our children will not be warlords or something, they say, like that.
Yeah.
But,
yeah, that's what...
I don't know, it's also another thing is just like, the fact that she was given to the war rig driver is why she's so like experienced in battle. The beginning of this movie, she's already sort of scrappy and whatever. She's very resourceful and just I don't know. There's not much to her that's different than what we saw in Fury Road. It doesn't feel like at any point in this movie she really needed to learn much of anything.
Yeah.
Which is weird because there's an entire chapter called Lessons from the Wasteland, and in that chapter, they just kind of skip through that. We don't really see her actually learning anything with the Warrig driver. It's just kind of like, yeah, I'll take you and teach you all I know, and then we've kind of skipped to, yeah, I've taught you all I know, now I want you to escape.
Yeah, as soon as they introduce the idea that, oh, I'll help you escape, it does happen, like, literally, like 10 minutes, or not even like that, later, so, yeah.
It's just, it seems like a lost opportunity to me to, really build the relationship between these two. Because what we get is all very surface level and just sort of like telling you that this is their relationship rather than showing you why.
Yeah.
It's also weird, the fact that he really goes back for her at all. It's just like, they kind of do the thing that happens in Fury Road where, like, he kicks off Furiosa and then drives off, but then he stops and comes back. In Fury Road, that only happened because Max didn't know how to actually drive the war rig without these little things that Furiosa...
Yeah, because she put in the fail-safes.
That wasn't a thing here. He just went back to her because he was like, hey, you're cool, I'll take care of you.
I mean, she wasn't a war boy. She was the only one on the rig who wasn't a war boy, so, I guess so.
That's also another question I have, though. It's just like, would he not be curious, hey, what's your deal? Why were you hiding if you were a girl? Why didn't you actually cut your hair when you were pretending to be a boy?
Didn't she, she did, though, didn't she? She shaves her hair down when she's a kid.
That's after.
Nope. That's after.
Yeah.
Like, we have an entire reveal during that
somehow, in that time, she wasn't revealed to be a fucking boy. Or no, to be not a boy.
In the war rig chase in this movie, it's revealed that she's a girl. Like, her, turban or whatever she has on her head gets tossed off in all the chaos, and she has super long hair. Like, what? Hello? Why wouldn't you cut that? What are you doing?
I mean, boys can have long hair, too.
But she doesn't look like
obvious.
A boy.
That was like the entire point. It was so strange. I'm gonna go back to some of the beginning stuff.
All right. Opening of the film.
Actually, first off, The Fury Road cinematographer did not come back for this movie, and you can tell.
Yeah.
I mean,
He wanted to spend some time with his grandkids, which is why he didn't show up. But a whole lot of the shots in this movie feel, I don't know if it's like poorly composited or something, but there's a lot of obvious CGI and green screening. That just wasn't there in Fury Road.
Okay, I'm gonna come in. With that, I thought, because I saw a couple tweets showing like that sort of the one shot stuff they're doing, where it mixes VFX and like the practical stuff, and I kind of thought it was cool, but I think for me what kind of ticks me off is color grade, because if you could tell in Fury Road, there's a lot more of a nicer and like cleaner color grade that makes everything both feel real but also hyper real. It's a well like very cohesive visual language. In this one, to me, there's too many of like that visual effects elements. I get it because I've always thought VFX is a good tool if it's used properly, but it seems like Miller transitioning into even more VFX stuff doesn't feel right, and it feels like he's using it at the wrong places. It doesn't feel right. That's why a lot of shots, like if you look at them like in stills, look really weird, and in motion it looks really weird too. And it's weird because Australia invested a lot of money into this movie as well, which now that it bombed, that's definitely not good for them. But besides that, I thought it could have worked if they spent a bit more time on it. And it's weird because there's such a big gap between these movies. You think they would think about it more. And I really came in wanting to like this movie. I'm being so really serious because opening, I actually kind of enjoyed. I was kind of understanding, okay, so I guess we're going with this. She goes through this main tragedy, and then we expand on that. And it's weird because, you know, as you mentioned, we don't really expand on it. It's kind of just a thing that happens, and that's her main goal, revenge. And it's not like we have conversations about it, and it's not even like the rig driver really talks about it either, so she doesn't really tell her many lessons. It's really only in the end that they try to recoup and try to, like, compromise by saying all these things, all these words about, like, revenge and stuff. But it really feels like too little, too late.
Yeah.
She's a very good listener, Furiosa is.
The things she listened to are just, like, I don't understand how it's, like, really that substantial, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't see it.
And,
because it's weird. Because the mother thing, where it's like, first of all, I know you were saying, like, Furiosa is a bit too capable. I feel like they could have worked around it if they actually had more to her. Like, she is already established as, like, capable of surviving, but not necessarily, like, combat. You could have done something with that, but they didn't do that either. And it's like...
I mean, she does get better.
I mean, I know she does in a slight way.
She does, but we don't ever, like, see that.
Yeah.
Like, in any meaningful way.
It's weird, because... You know, you have your mother there. You spend a good chunk of time with her trying to chase and find her again. Even though
very good with the rifle.
I thought she's too good with the rifle. She's too good.
Yeah. Like, what has she been using that for? Hello?
Besides that,
maybe we're just like too accustomed to like characters in movies just like missing shots.
It's weird when we get to like.
Because that's realistic.
Okay. Let me talk. Don't argue yet. What I'm saying is like when we get to like Dementor's camp and she's kind of like driving by, it's weird. No one notices her up there until she starts shooting. It's very weird. And when she takes Furiosa, it's weird. She lets the mother or supposed mother away, which could feasibly add to her character.
Wait, don't kill me! I'm a mother too. Like,
and, like you could have added to that. Like that's a good character thing, but you could have added to that by tying her up.
Do you want to come with us?
Like,
do you want to come with us?
Because
ask that and then see what happens.
You want to see like that compelling thing where it's like, okay, at the same, I do understand where you're coming from, but you could be lying to me. Like you could have done something with that, but they didn't. And it's kind of like that throughout the whole movie where I'm thinking, oh, they're gonna do something interesting, and then they don't. So it's just maybe
maybe like Furiosa tells her mother not to, like, don't kill her. She washed me. Don't kill her. And then she learns that like the knock-on effect that she goes and fucking rats on them, two Dementors, and then her mother dies, and like Furiosa's sort of responsible in a way. I mean, maybe. Maybe that's too cartoonish.
That's
I don't
not.
know.
It would
it's
certainly
not,
be
that,
more
Yeah,
than
that would be
what's
more
there.
interesting than like what they do, where it's literally nothing. So, good job, Ika.
Yeah.
Good job.
And, you know,
Well, thank you.
going earlier in the film, I wanted to say we start off, you know, in the green place. The first time we've ever seen the green place,
It has
like
mountains.
as it was,
It has
and it has
mountains.
mountains.
Yeah.
What? That
I don't
does
know.
not make any sense. Where did they go?
Maybe they fell down. Maybe
You're
the
so
sound-
dumb.
Slow
Ika,
down.
Ika, can you hear yourself? Can you hear yourself? Can you hear yourself?
Yeah, I can hear. Yeah, I can hear myself.
No.
You sound like a fucking
That's
autistic
not
idiot, bro. What are you on about?
I just offering up suggestions because there's a big gap in between Furiosa and Fury Road, and you see the bit of Fury Road where they go past the green place, and it's all like marshes and like
Dude,
dead
that had
and
to
everything and
happen
stuff.
in like 20 years. It's like,
Yeah,
how is that possible?
I don't know. I don't know what happens. They don't really. What do they say in Fury Road? They say like we ran out of stuff, I think, or like something got poisoned. It's one of those two things, if I remember.
Yeah, but it's like, how did these can't coexist? The mountains can't all sink into this swamp.
Do you
that doesn't,
okay?
like entirely sink
do you
these
realize like okay? First of all, the fact that we even have canyons, the fact that we even have mountains, took billions and billions of years for it to grow because that's
Yeah.
how the world fucking works. It has to like decompose.
Okay,
And
yeah.
So a mountains just disappearing doesn't happen instantaneously.
I mean, it is. I mean, you know, it's like heightened reality. It's Mad Max. Maybe it
No,
does.
no, no,
Maybe
no,
it
no,
does
no,
work
no,
like
no,
that
no,
in
no,
Mad
no, no,
Max.
no, 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 no.
I don't know.
See,
I don't know because the
we
film
have
doesn't tell me.
look, we have certain like hyper unrealistic stuff, but it still does manage to fit in with the other parts of the logic. This doesn't fit in because, I mean, throughout the entire series, we're working around the fact that we're in the middle of a desert, the fact that we're limited on water and gas. That's kind of the whole. That's the fact. The whole thing with the factions in the movie, where you're going back and forth, and they're trying to make these like trade exchanges. Like, all right, we'll allow you to do this if you give us this, or we can work together on this.
We'll give you food if you give us bullets, and we'll give you food if you give us gas.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's kind of the whole thing. It doesn't. It's not executed
Well-
well, but like you know,
well,
there's that. It's
I was
there.
also gonna say, like, the Bullet Farm and Gastown were these two other factions that, in the prequel comic, were first formed and helmed by two of Immortan Joe's sons,
Yeah.
were the Bullet Farmer and the People Eater.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like they're not like entirely separate factions. They're just like all kind of working together.
Yeah.
Anyway, going back earlier again, when we're in the green place and we're introduced to these guys that have found
Back
it
to this.
on their motorbikes.
Yeah.
This is just like a weird editing mistake. I'm pretty sure, but like
Is there?
when they're there, there's 5 of them.
Is there?
Yeah,
Yeah?
there is. I went
gonna
and
have to-
rewound it. I rewound it multiple times to make sense of it. But then, as soon as Furiosa starts messing with them, there's 4 of them, and there proceeds to be 4 of them for the rest of the film. And I was just like, wait, one of them just like disappeared for no reason.
That can't have happened. That cannot have happened. That's such
I
a.
promise you, it did. You gotta
I'd have
go
to
look
watch.
back.
I'd have to watch the start again. That can't have happened. That can't have gone past the quality checks without being noticed.
It's weird.
It's
I do
weird,
like the
but,
I do like the
I
little
feel like-
detail when one of them dies and the bike is still there. They take parts from it and use it. That's cool. I like that.
Yeah, that's clever. I kind of like that.
You can't be
There are
wasting
like
shit.
little bits in this movie that I think of like little bits of world building or character actions I think are pretty neat, but like nothing substantial to the actual story going on. And the actual story going on is so all over the place and feels kind of aimless by the end. But it's just confusing.
Well, it's
Like,
weird. To me,
Because like,
it felt weird that Dementis was gone for such a good portion of time.
yeah,
But because it's a two-hander. It's
I
about
feel like
Furiosa,
we
and it's
found
also about him.
found the Citadel too soon.
We have to talk. We have to talk about Dementis.
No, I was thinking
Let's talk about the bed. No, go on. Let Sander finish first.
what I was saying is like I feel like we went to the Citadel too soon. I feel the movie's time management was just not good at all because he spent too much time.
Did we? I feel that we got there like the half hour, 40-minute mark.
Yeah, I don't know. It's weird. The movie wastes a good portion of time, and I can't even notice it. But it is just like eventually you realize, how have we spent that much time, and yet we don't have enough time for us to learn more about Dementus? Because it's weird. We had that whole thing where he's like, "Oh, I want you to show you like the miserable parts of the world," but then, eventually, like that kind of gets dropped because she's no longer with him anymore. So we don't really get much beyond that. And it feels like
and then it's just sort of contradicted in the next scene featuring him and her.
I think it would have been interesting if this was like that first half of the movie was just Dementus and Furiosa, and they have this weird conflict between each other where it's like a weird father and daughter thing that they're trying to go for in this movie, but just doesn't succeed at.
I thought that's what they were gonna do, was the thing, because like
it's weird. When
I kind of liked the way they established.
When people were praising the movie, I assumed that's what it was about, where it's like this massive odyssey that is like this visually stunning thing, and it has this very cool core character thing. Because they say, "Oh, it's slower and it's more character focused," and yeah, it's slower, but the character stuff isn't great.
It's not more character focused though. It's not.
It's not great. No, it feels very much.
And the thing is, you could say, "Oh, this is like a classic revenge story," but also Dementus is like one of the most lame characters that you could have a revenge grudge with, because
he killed her mother.
Yeah, he killed her mother,
and then made her watch,
which is one of the scenes I kind of like, because it's like, oh, he wants her to see this.
Yeah.
But then in the next scene, featuring him and her, they're gonna tear this guy into several pieces with the motorcycles, and he's like, "You don't have to watch," and he gives her the teddy bear. It just feels kind of inconsistent with what was shown before. I thought that they were gonna kind of have him, for lack of a better term, groom her into this very
not in a sexual way.
Style.
Because groom can be used in different ways.
He never comes off that way. But,
I know that. I was making a joke.
Yeah. I don't know.
But I kind of thought that's where we were going with it, and we didn't really. It just kind of gives up on that. And then Dementus as a character just becomes more and more incoherent throughout the rest of the movie. Because he's just kind of a lucky idiot. Which is not what I thought we were getting. No. Because we're introduced, he's a big deal. And the one-eyed guy literally kills the other guy just to impress Dementus. That he got, this kid from a place of abundance.
Mm.
It's like, oh, okay, so clearly Dementus is, a big deal. He's very respected to have all these people, going with him. But then, throughout the film, it's just shown that he's really stupid and cannot manage things for the life of him.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't understand how that's consistent with what was shown before. Because why do all these people follow him if a large amount of them know that he's blatantly an idiot?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he only really...
Everyone, Gastown is falling to pieces, and it's his fault. But all these people are still following him, to the point that he's like, yeah, let's take over Bullet Farm, too. I'm like, why exactly?
Okay.
I just don't understand, because why are they still following him when he's actively made their situation worse?
Okay. So, to talk about this...
And... wait, one more point to it, though.
Sure.
It's especially annoying because Furiosa is shown to be competent throughout the entire film. So it's just not a really interesting dynamic. It's just she's really good at what she does, and he's a lucky idiot. There's not much of anything to it.
Yeah. I think it would have been interesting if Dementus taught her certain things, and then it came to bite him back in the ass in the end. But no, they don't do that. And another thing is, I feel like the whole, Dementus, he's the leader and everyone should follow him. I feel like that's an angle that was already found in Fury Road. So I don't really understand why not switch it up and maybe take a different approach. And maybe there could have been something, I don't know, maybe we could have understand, like, a different reason why they all follow Dementus. Maybe they're all just, like, just as crazy as he is, or something. I don't know. I'm just brainstorming. I don't have, like, a clear, like, creative idea for this, but, like, I genuinely do think... I just do think...
I have the movie playing on in the background while we're talking about this.
Okay.
Self refreshed, and I want to bring up a little thing from the beginning when the mom is trying to escape with Furiosa.
Mm-hmm.
One of the other guys, might have been Dementus, shoots the fuel tank on her motorcycle, and it explodes. And she just doesn't react at all, even though her back has been thoroughly burned by this.
Oh yeah.
It's just
then she rolls around in the around in the sand.
She rolls around and then
takes over. It didn't even do anything to the bike. It just keeps going. I was just like, hello? That's not how explosions work. You are screwed. What are you doing?
But yeah, as I was saying, like, I do think could have been a new angle with the whole leader thing. Maybe that could have been like what he's trying to do to Furiosa, told him about how he leads these people. But no, that doesn't happen. And another thing is, I don't know, when they find the Citadel, they find the War Boy. That's how it leads them to him. And the whole thing about that is he comes up with this brilliant, like, trade-off, like, you guys do this and then blah 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 blah. And it's like, how did he learn all of this? I guess from the War Boy, but it doesn't seem like we get enough context for that. All he tells us is, like, there's Valhalla. And
what do you mean? What does Dementus learn? Because all he learns about is the Citadel, and then he just goes there and tries to, like, muscle in.
The thing is, like, the way he's describing it, like, he knows how they operate and how they function. Like, he knows everything about them. Yeah, he does.
Yeah,
if you go back in the movie,
he starts making, like, a whole speech of, like, your rulers have been, like, cruel to you over this, and this, and Dementus will, like, lead you on to greater horizons.
He makes this assumption.
That kind of thing.
He makes that assumptions without, like, a clear reasoning, and so it feels, like, kind of weird. I think it would have been cool if, like, he could tell, like, the War Boy was, like, so dedicated to his cause, and so he was, like, a bit more cautious about it. But no. He's not smart. He just kind of goes in and makes, like, assumptions, which I feel like
maybe
that's
we
part
could
of his
call it
character,
an educated wish.
I mean, I guess, but, like, what are his foundations? Maybe he could have talked about how, like, oh, I remember this previous society that was like this, and did something and, like, said something similar to that. But no, there's literally just no reason for him to, like, think this way. There's no reason for him to. So I never really got that. And when like you said, when he does take over, why do they still follow him? They don't explain. It's weird because for a movie that as long as it is and meant to be this backstory, it just doesn't give me any details. It's so weird. 'Cause the way everyone was describing it is like this big odyssey and, like, this journey that, like, will take you places and, like, make you understand Furiosa more, when it just genuinely hasn't. It's frankly, like you said, like you mentioned when we were watching it, is like that whole thing that it does disservice, like, the whole core of what is the reason why Furiosa, like, tries to help the wives or do all these other things. It removes that, and this movie doesn't really introduce anything new. So, what's the point?
Do we want to talk about the scene with Dementus and the nipple thing? Because I know you got really antsy about that bit, Silver. Let's talk about the bit with the nipples.
Oh, that.
Why did he do that?
Why did he do it? Because he was so the whole thing was that, like, he had his nipples, like, chained to that like sword trap thing, so like Immortan Joe's brother, and he's like, I got the codes to, like, blow up Gastown in my head, and if I pull this, he'll rip my nipples off, and the pleasure will flush them right out. Not forget about him. So basically, that's like his whole thing.
No sense, though.
What do you mean?
Why would he know
sense.
the insane weird pleasure he gets from ripping his nipples off will make him forget code?
I don't know.
How that makes any sense.
I don't know, because the movie doesn't tell me. I mean, I'd have to assume.
Hey! There you go, there's a hole!
Maybe he tested it on someone before.
It's telling you bullshit.
I don't know. It's Mad Max. Fucking weird shit happens all the time in these films.
Yeah, a lot of weird shit. A lot of it is pretty well explained.
Yeah.
But another thing, like, that's kind of inconsistent between both movies is when Furiosa goes to the green place in Fury Road, they ask what happened to her mother,
Yeah.
and she said that her mother died on the third day of all the days she's been gone, which is not true, according to this movie.
It's close enough. It's within the first few days, and it's not like the worst.
Yeah,
thing.
I mean, it took
It's
like
not
a,
the
like a
worst
day
thing.
and a bit. It took a day and a bit to get to Dementus's place, and maybe it took like an extra day for her mother to die.
I think it was like
just
2 or
up on there.
it was like 2 days or something.
I think that's like fine.
Yeah.
Cause
Yeah, it's one of my lesser
Yeah.
problems.
It doesn't-
I wrote
it
it
doesn't feel
down. I wanted to
substantial.
make sure I mentioned it.
All right, that's fine.
all right.
The Citadel looks like weirdly worse because of like all the stuff that they've done with cinematography and all.
Mhm.
I don't know what it is. Another thing is just like the people there look less like sort of gross and screwed up as they do.
Well, what
in,
about the
Fury
bit
Road.
where what about the bit later on in Furiosa where she ends up in like the underground
maggot-
cavern bit?
We'll
Yeah, that
talk
bit.
about it. We'll talk
That
about
bit-
it. We'll talk about
that
the
bit is
whole
foul.
movie. We're talking about the whole movie.
Oh, okay.
And we're not just we're just talking about the whole movie. Yeah, man. Fuck. But yeah.
Why?
Mm.
Okay, I know why. Like, they invented Immortan Joe having a brother in charge of Gastown for this movie, even though
Mhm.
that's not what George Miller wrote before. They just
Well, I don't
wanted to do
know.
it so that they didn't have him kill the People Eater.
I
Because People Eater is Fury Road. We can't do that.
I mean, it's like when it's like with Star Wars with the old EU, where you'd have stuff like the visual stuff, like the film and TV, just like overwrite some of the books and stuff because it's a lesser medium.
Yeah.
And it's like the same thing with
Filoni did that because
like
he's a garbage hack writer.
there's
We're not talking
that
about that right now.
but there's that in Star Wars, and there's also that with like Doctor Who as well, because you have like the main TV show Doctor Who, but then you also have like the audio books and the comic books and the books as well, and it's all like contradictory as well, where like the TV show is like strictly canon, that's what you go off, and then like any of the expanded stuff is like debatable,
Like
depending on your interpretation.
Wars specifically pissed me off because Filoni just does it worse. But
Well, I can agree with that.
Oh no.
I can agree with that.
Filoni? Someone say Filoni? Sorry, I zoned out for a second. Filoni? Oh no.
No. But no, maybe it's like this because like the comic book. Maybe the comic book just is it's like a lesser medium. So I guess there's like certain liberties.
Whoa.
I'm no. I think comic books are great. I've just come in at this from the perspective of like a Hollywood director
I get that.
who has written that book.
Yeah.
But
see.
Yeah, go ahead.
So I'm just saying no, because he had involvement in that prequel comic book to Fury Road, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's got at least some claim that he can like rework some things for like the visual medium, because that's the more popular thing.
Yeah,
that's all I wanted to say.
To it. I just think he did it a lot worse.
That's fair enough. That's fair enough. I didn't really mind that it was Immortan Joe's brother. You're like, oh, okay. He had a brother, that's alright.
Oh, and that also reminded me, the little midget man brother who's in Fury Road is not in this. Even though he's the oldest brother, he kind of needs to be here, but the actor died, so it's just like, oh, fair enough.
Unfortunate, but yeah, you can't do anything.
It's not really like a problem with the film itself, it's just like...
Just unfortunate.
Yeah. And, when they go with Citadel, they have like that kind of... I kind of think it's a little neat. He's like pick one of my war boys out of all of them here. And the war boy is, he's awaited in Valhalla, so he kills himself. But it's just like to show, like, I have resources to spare, and they will all give their lives fighting you. Like, that's a cool little display of power.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But he says, like, there's 972 war boys. Which, that's a lot. But also, we have a 40-day war later.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
That's not enough for a 40-day war.
Depends how slow the war goes, I guess.
Especially how small Dementus's crew seems in comparison. It's just, I can't buy that. I can't buy that they're just, like, running around and killing each other for 40 days. I think it's silly.
It's so sad that they just kind of...
Is that meant to be, like, a biblical reference?
They just don't show it. They just have, like a montage.
The way they just... I get what it's weird. This movie has this weird like fable undertone to it, but it just really underplays it because there's a lack of anything. Because it was like chapters and the 40-day war. It's like sort of biblical, but there's nothing to it.
Yeah, I was about to say like the 40 days. Maybe was it like, oh, how Jesus was in the desert for 40 days and 40 nights?
That might be why.
Is it meant to be that?
What are you talking about, bro?
Okay, that might be why a lot.
Jesus he was stuck in the desert. Well, he wasn't stuck. He went into.
We're not
the
talking about religion on this podcast.
Okay.
I don't want to touch that on the podcast. No, we're not touching that.
All right, sorry. I was just saying when we're talking about it now, it just seemed like it could have been a biblical reference, but I'm not sure why.
Nope.
They have like a whole like pretentious narration over it, talking about like all these other wars that have happened. Yeah, the history man. I know. That's just like. I don't understand what it's trying to say other than, yeah, war happens. No matter what happens, war happens. All these different wars. Yeah, isn't war terrible?
See that?
Yeah.
Oh, now I just thought about it. It could have been. It really could have been like.
Yeah. Okay.
It really could have been like.
Fury Road didn't have this.
It really could have been like Furiosa learns stuff from the History Man, and then Dementus feeds her other stuff, and it's like sort of like the counter stuff. But no, they don't do that either. So
there was a moment when he was. Alone with Furiosa, he says, like, you have to make yourself invaluable to Dementus to survive. That never matters.
Yeah.
That does, though. She does. She makes herself invaluable. Not to Dementus, but, like, in general, she makes herself invaluable.
Not really.
She does. She's the only... When she's
well,
at the Citadel, she's the only one...
If they do, they don't show it, so...
They do. They show her... It's the bit where
no, they show her... She's with the wives... And then she gets
no, it's not. No, it's not that bit. It's the bit afterwards where they have like the thing where they're trying to like with like the crane and the thing where they're trying to like pull the car up, and it's like she's the only one who can do it because all the other ones are like chicken out, and she's the only one that goes forward and does it, and therefore she gets put in charge of like that part because she made herself invaluable.
But
besides that, nothing.
I have more problems with that. That's just like I don't see how that was something she learned. Because it feels like she already acted this sort of competent way before that.
I mean,
like she was already like purposely sabotaging the motorbike guys in the.
Yeah, but she wasn't doing that for anyone to like survive. She was just doing that to get home. But now it's like, well, I can't get home yet, so I gotta like work my way up. So I gotta make myself invaluable.
As we mentioned, like it feels like. They changed the progression for like making her way into like the Citadel because they just straight up skip it and it also doesn't make any sense. So I don't know. They start making her way through like the Citadel, like just like eventually becoming like one of the people on the rigs or whatever. Like that's the lead way to that isn't super smooth or has any clarification. I don't know.
I did want to say I like the scene where they have the war boy who's got an arrow through his head, the poor fella, trying to understand what all the Dementus crew are saying to him. That was kind of fun. It was neat.
Mm-hmm. What's this? It's Skyblood.
It's like, what's Valhalla? Like, what's abundance? He's just like, a lot of stuff. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff. It's like, this is kind of fun. Dementus's plan to take over Gastown, like, getting in there in the first place, I don't think it works.
Yeah, it does. The nipple thing, it worked.
No, like getting into Gastown, like when he's assaulting it, like first off.
Oh, yes, yeah.
Because it's, like, I can buy it, but it's still a little convenient. There's just, like, white mud ready there for them to...
No, they, like, mix it up. They mix it up to make it white.
Not much. They just kind of, like, their hand a little bit, and that's it.
Yeah.
And, but, you know, that's not my big problem. My big problem is, like, as they're riding in, trying to make it look like the war boys are getting attacked, they're, like, purposefully missing, which I understand. And the guy watching it sees this, and he's like, yeah, this is sus, this is fake. And then Dementus is like, oh, they're not buying it. We have to kill you. So he starts doing that, and just like, does that not seem a little bit more sus? Like, you already saw them just, like, purposefully missing the most obvious shots ever, and now you're gonna believe them and let them through?
Because no one is as good at shooting as Furiosa's mother.
And Furiosa herself later.
Exactly.
I love how
That's
main
why.
characters
That's,
don't miss shots.
that's why she's so invaluable, because she's the only one who could hit proper shots. Like the attack on the wall rig halfway through the film.
Mm.
Yeah, then, we get to that whole scene where Morton, Joe, and Dementus make a deal together through that bizarre contraption nonsense.
Shut up.
But he also wants to take Furiosa. It's like, oh, okay, this is how we're gonna get to the story where Furiosa is the child bride, and that's where it's gonna go. No, not at all. She doesn't spend like an entire day with the brides at all.
Mm-hmm.
She makes a pretty easy escape.
I mean, she does. It's just off screen, and they cut to one of them giving birth and stuff.
Yeah, it's off screen. Why? Why do you have your important moments off screen? What are you doing?
Isn't like the whole point of it like
all...
watching? What isn't it like the whole point of it watching the pregnancy bit like supposed to make her empathize with them because of how like the baby's tossed away? And
well,
they,
you're
like,
not empathizing them as a person. You're just empathizing them just because of the situation, and that's not as effective.
It's not nearly as effective as what they had before, and it's I
so
don't
weird.
buy it.
It's weird. This movie has chunks of it that seem like it could lead to a genuinely great movie, but it's missing like all the actual like parts.
It's missing all the legwork.
Yeah.
Because then after Furiosa escapes, it's never like shown to be a big deal, and Morton Joe we don't have a scene of Morton Joe like caring, but his new bride is just immediately gone. And then
I guess it's not as bad as them all disappearing like in Fury Road.
Another slave boy. Where did he come from? Don't know, but he's here now.
I don't know. It's just very like indeterminate about how many people are at the Citadel. So maybe just I don't know.
It's so like I talk about like all these other things going on in the movie, but it kind of bothers me when these things happen as well because I have less faith in what the story is trying to do.
Mm-hmm.
It's like why did she disguise herself as a slave? That's just objectively a worse life to be having here at the Citadel.
Because you can't just like come straight in as like a high-ranking one, because then you're going to draw attention to yourself. She's got to work from the bottom to work her way up, so it's more natural.
But she isn't from the bottom.
That clearly wasn't her intention, though.
Yeah.
Her intention is that she wants to. Actually, it's confusing because, like, with how easy she escaped, like, surely she could have gotten one of the dozens of motorcycles and gotten out already. She has the map to get home. I just don't understand why she stays here for years and just doesn't try.
Revenge.
But then this whole thing of her disguising herself as a slave is ultimately undermining like her entire deal in Fury Road, because in Fury Road she's incredibly sympathetic and helpful to the brides.
Yeah.
But when Nux is going after them, she wants nothing to do with them. She does not give a single shit about the War Boys. She doesn't like them. Even though in this movie, she spent several years of her life working with them and helping them. And she could clearly see, like the little midget one that's on the war rig, like, he dies tragically in that fight. She clearly, had some sort of care for him, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was unfair. So he had to go through that.
Maybe it's because she doesn't really care about Nux in Fury Road. It's because she sees him as like too far gone. Like she like tolerates them.
That's how all the War Boys are, though. That's the thing.
Yeah, maybe she like. I wouldn't say she like really cares about any of them in Furiosa. I think more she tolerates them. I think she really just cares about the little boy.
I don't know.
Because he is just like a boy.
I think if you worked years of your life with these people, it would kind of be a big deal. You would be more sympathetic to the troubles they're going through.
I guess so, but then but Furiosa is also just like very like emotionally detached from things in this film.
Yeah, which makes her even less interesting because they don't do anything with her. Do we want
to talk about Anya Taylor Joy as Furiosa? Do we want to talk about
that? She does okay.
She has big eyes.
Have much material to go with is the problem.
She has big eyes. That's it.
She get lost in those eyes. She just. Whew.
Yeah, it distracts you from all the problems, doesn't it?
I just don't know
Man.
how you gas it up so much when she has like so little like interesting to her character for her to go through.
Mm-hmm.
Because she's like a cool character doing cool things.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the most surface level thing possible.
But it's like the same thing with like Evil Dead with Ash.
Huh?
Like there's barely any depth in Evil Dead.
No way!
character.
No way!
Ash
Blood's
is a very
comparing Evil
consistent
Dead
character, and
to
he's a
fucking Furiosa. There's no way, bro.
I'm not like directly comparing them as films.
Bro,
I'm just
ain't
like
no
comparing
way,
them
bro.
to. No, I
No,
did.
ain't no way, bro. Ain't no way, bro.
Look,
Ain't
no,
no
no.
way.
very much has more character than Furiosa
Yeah.
does in this
He
movie.
he definitely has more character, but then he's not a complex one. He is
No.
like he's
Yeah,
he's a
obviously
cool
not.
character doing cool things, and you like him because he's funny and he's cool.
Well, yeah.
It's
Well,
not
yeah,
like
but also with
you.
the struggles he's going through, they're absurdly insane.
Oh yeah,
Like
and
he
you
lost all his friends.
yeah,
in
and his
Evil Dead.
girlfriends.
He lost all his friends. He goes into descent into insanity by reliving in the exact same cabin, but even more crazy shit happens. And he gets sent to
Yeah.
fucking medieval times and has to become this fucking valiant hero. Like that
Yeah,
will put you
Very
through a
much
lot of
easy
mental
to
stress, bro.
sympathize with him.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Furiosa
I mean,
is nowhere near as much. There's not much of anything going on with her. Is the thing.
I empathize with her. Like I thought it was horrible. She had to watch her mother die, and
That's it.
She's,
Well, of course it
That's
was.
it.
I never said it wasn't. But we don't
Yeah.
go beyond that.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, she takes 10 years to try and escape. That's crazy.
uh,
10 years. Why would you take 10 years? That is not just a time that you can blow off your shoulder. That is a significant
because she
part.
didn't know that the mountains.
She was
she
a
didn't know
child in the beginning of this movie. These are her developmental years, a critic.
because she didn't know that
She's
the
like
green place was going
developmental
to
to
do
her
this for
entire
so
person, and just we get nothing from that. Also, Anya Taylor Joy is only in half the movie, so stop.
No, look,
Stop gassing it up, bro.
but that half of the film she's in.
It's very bad, just like the rest of it.
No, there's redeeming elements.
Kind of.
I even gave some compliments. There's some little things here and there I think are pretty neat.
I like the first
actual
rig
main
action
story
scene.
is so bad.
I like the first rig action scene. I thought that was decent. I like
What do
it.
you mean the first one? There's only one.
The action in the war rig chase is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty decently
with
creative.
like the bikes with the helicopter blades. Like
they call it like the something thumper or whatever. It's like a
Spears.
flea name. I like it.
Oh yeah, that's great as well.
The spears,
I
like the
like
sword
that.
stuff.
I think it's neat.
It's cool. I like it. Yeah.
I like how she's working together with the War Boys and Jack, the War Rig driver, to go through all that. It's pretty neat.
Yeah.
But it just does not hit anywhere near the same way as any of the action sequences in Fury Road.
I commented on that when I watched the film, where like it's sort of like moves towards like the level of energy the Fury Road does, which kind of makes sense because then everything like fully
Never
kicks
reaches
off.
that energy, though, is
I
the
don't
thing.
know. First of all, there's a certain control of a lack of music, which I know Silver, you didn't really appreciate that. And thought it just
No,
made
I don't
less and
really
less
like
thing.
it.
I thought it was an interesting choice, but it didn't work because I think when you have action that lacks music, it's meant to make it more intense, more like grit to it. But
But the problem is, like, I don't really care about the characters involved.
I don't think it's the most impressive. I think it's around the same level as that specific rig scene, like, but it just it just removes that certain sound bite to it. So it's just like,
So you're missing the Doof Warrior, and you're missing the drums and everything.
It's good, but it's not.
And another
like,
part of
great.
it, of course, is like all the plenty of shots that look really rough with the green screening and CGI. It's just like this was never this obvious in Fury Road.
There's too much shine to everything. Have you noticed that like the metal's like super shiny and it's weird?
I mean, like the war rig is supposed to be shiny because it's like
no, but it's
just
too
built
shiny.
it.
It's too shiny.
But there's a lot
it's weird that the movie. I complain about this. Like I said, the color grade, but also it's too bright in parts. I feel like it makes the whole compositing look even worse because it doesn't blend in. Because obviously
it just doesn't feel like it has anywhere near the same level of like consistency to the visuals as Fury Road.
It feels like it's not amping up the
like
visuals
Fury
either,
Road
so I don't know.
Is Fury Road. George Miller started working on that pretty much like directly after Beyond Thunderdome, and it took super long to get it made. But when it got made, holy shit, it looks incredible. That movie is never going to age. It looks so good.
It's crisp.
This movie has aged day one.
I wouldn't say day one.
Yeah, day one. There's plenty of movies that came out decades before this that look so much better.
I'm not like disagreeing with that. I'm just saying like I could still like cite you like 5 films from this year, like same like budget level that.
Well, yeah, they're garbage too. Like, come on.
It does have it has the same good editing, like, and a good sense of like that scope of like that chase, but like besides that, I don't know. There's just something missing about it besides just the music, and I can't quite like pin it down.
Yeah, it's just not the same as a thing. It's like I'm not really invested in what exactly their goal is here compared to what the goal is in Fury Road.
Mm-hmm.
But
well, it's just very straightforward and simple in Fury Road. This one tries to do a bit more.
I feel like this movie is trying to simplify it more. It's weird. Because I feel
Fury Road's already like simple enough.
No, it feels like the language of the movie is trying to be slower and trying to be like more open space. Like but I feel like the fact that you get to see, because I feel like in Fury Road there was a lot more close-ups, a lot more zoom-ins, a lot more of that super tight momentum, because that's kind of how it was built around.
Yeah, high octane film.
Yeah, this is, and it was never a bad idea to slow it down and make an action that feels different, lack of sound. Or just like what I meant is lack of music, and maybe put more emphasis on the sound design, but there wasn't anything notable about the sound design or something, and so it feels kind of like it's just removing things for the sake of it instead of becoming better or for a greater purpose, because the film's greater purpose isn't that good.
Yeah, and we get back to Furiosa being revealed as a girl. Nobody cares or questions that she's an escaped bride. Like, oh, why is it a big deal that she's a girl? Immortan Joe clearly learns about this sooner or later. Does he question this? But does anyone question it? No. We don't have a scene about that, like, at all. Then,
I can't argue with that.
Yeah, when the Warwick driver, Jack, comes back, he asks her, where are you going to go? There's nothing out there. It's like, there's only the Bullet Farm, Gastown, and the Citadel. Which is just not true.
Have you heard of the Thunderdome?
It's especially weird coming from him, because he's a war rig driver. He's clearly had a lot of experience on the roads, and we see in Fury Road that there are more factions, like in the cliffs they go through to get to the Green Place. There are clearly more
I forgot about that part of Fury Road.
And then it's, of course, like, clearly there are other parts in the world that are occupied. Why would you just assume that there's only these 3 locations?
Because they're the only good places, I guess.
And then, no, it doesn't make much sense to me, especially given later, like, in, like, the same set of scenes, he's like, I'll teach you to be a war rig driver so you can go wherever you want to go. Like, hold on, you said there's only 3 locations that are like anything interesting or meaningful or safe. And now you're saying, wherever you want to go.
Yeah, but he knows that she wants to go somewhere else that isn't those 3 places.
She never talks to him about that.
Then how does he know that she wants to go somewhere else that isn't the other 3 places?
Yeah, exactly.
Hey, wait, yeah, she does that. She does though. Doesn't when the warring battle is over, doesn't she like say like get out of the car or like turn it around and go that way or something?
When she like tries to take it over?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's why he asks her the question later. He says, "Where are you gonna go? There's nothing out there."
Yeah, exactly. See? And he's like, all right, I'll teach you to be a war rig driver so you can go wherever you want to go.
Yeah, like, I don't know. That's fair enough. It's just, I find it weird that that's how they did that. It makes the world feel smaller. Yeah, I said before, we don't see Furiosa learn anything from Jack in the entire movie. We just skip that whole sequence.
I mean, he gives her the boomstick.
That's nothing. That's on the same level as like giving Rey from fucking Star Wars Luke's fucking lightsaber.
No.
That's all it is. It's a
it's like-
platitude. It's a platitude. It's a platitude.
You know what it's more like? It's like when Woody Harrelson gives Han Solo Han Solo's gun in Solo, like gives him the exact same gun. Do you remember his gun in Solo?
It's a fucking platitude, dude. It's a platitude. That's all it is.
This movie is a little like Solo later. We'll talk about that.
No, but like even then, like I couldn't even remember in Fury Road if she actually uses that boomstick or not.
She does, but she lends it to like other people. I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, she gives it to the brides, doesn't she?
Mm-hmm.
I remember.
One of the other guns, I forget.
I find it a little weird that like she was already like great with a sniper gun, presumably because the mother was. But I don't understand why the mother would be. If anything, I find it.
Well, I don't know because we don't know what happens before the film starts.
I don't know. It's strange because then there's like that scene in Fury Road where her using the sniper with Max is pretty significant. It's also significant because if you remember, Max has a scar on his left eye that makes him kind of blind from the previous films.
Yeah,
I don't think they like have a good visual.
Yeah, no, they never draw attention to it in the fact that he is like you say, he's like short-sighted.
It bothers me that they went with such weak explanations for these things, and it's just like, you know, part of the prequel problem is like you can't really put this character in situations where it's gonna look like, oh, what if she dies? We know she's not gonna die.
Well, yeah.
It's just that I don't think they do a good job at avoiding that.
You just give it like interesting stuff to do.
Oh yeah, which they didn't. They really didn't. And you know, and once we get to that part where Jack has taught her everything he knows, he makes her use a different car for the bullet farm trap scene, which is incredibly convenient that it was just today that was the time he decided, I'm going to give you a car to help you escape. Because then it's integral to how the trap action scene at the bullet farm plays out. It's important that she's separate from the rest of the crew so that she can just start picking off the other guys and then survive an explosion to the face. Just like out of any day possible, it was this one.
Man, bro, Krug is just lost in the sauce, bro. He doesn't even know what's going on. Fuck
I do know what's going on.
But it's annoying as well, because like, we didn't see this relationship develop. We didn't see any of it. It's just, I'll teach you everything. Boom, I've taught you everything. Like, okay, fun. Great. I had a friend who said that he got so enveloped in this relationship. I was like, what relationship? They had nothing.
Yeah, no.
They had literally nothing.
People say like there was like romantic tension. I don't think there's any like.
There's definitely
I don't think there's any.
There's definitely
no. There is no. I don't think it's written to be like that either. I think they're just close. That's it. That's why she doesn't kiss him. That's why they like smush their heads together.
Yeah, it's just just like I said, the bullet farm action scene. Like she gets a rocket blown, like right at the cliff that she's under, and she like falls because of that. She's not like permanently damaged or anything because of this, even though it was an explosion like right next to her face. Like great plot armor there, guys.
You were saying about Jack. I mean, like, he's not really a deep character, but I mean, you do sort of like him because he's like one of the only few people who genuinely like cares for Furiosa.
But why?
So, I mean,
that is like the most surface level possible way you could like a character is. Oh, they like the main character. They're nice to the main character.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, in comparison to everyone else who's don't really care for it.
Yes, it's just like that. There's nothing else to it though.
Yeah, no, but I agree there.
Like, I don't really care about Furiosa either. Is the problem because like. They haven't done much of anything to endear me to her character.
You only care about her because she's Anya Taylor Joy.
No, it's not just because she's Anya Taylor Joy.
That's the reason why. That's the reason why.
No, it's what did she do in this movie that was at all interesting or endearing?
Very proactive, you know. She's not to be fucked with. It's kind of cool.
Yeah, see, it's just like it's kind of cool. It's like like a lot of people write off like Dragon Ball for being like, oh, that's just mindless rule of cool. But there's like a lot of writing in Dragon Ball where characters are endeared to what they endear you to them through all their different actions and sacrifices that they take.
Mm-hmm.
Furiosa doesn't have any of that. There's just not.
I don't know. I was earlier. I was reading David Elrich's review of fucking Furiosa, and he's talking about how like, oh, the seed is planted where in a seed like that grows into hate, and that she just is purely driven by vengeance.
No, it's
but,
just
like
the seed she takes from the green place. Do you remember the seed?
Yeah, but it's like, what's that supposed to really add to it? I don't know. Yeah, because the way he's describing it here is like, she's so attached to her past of like the green place that she forgets like how much what this vengeance really does, which is kind of what the whole ending's trying to do, because because Dementus is like going on about how he himself seeks revenge, and that's why he's doing all these conquests.
That whole spiel is so stupid.
I thought it was interesting. I did think some of it was well thought out, but the thing is, we're at the end of this movie, and the implication, at least that sort of climactic final scene, which I think is neat, because I think it's very cool when a movie is counter to like the cinematic of sort of vengeance, where let's say something like No Country for Old Men or like Barry or something like that, where it takes violence and just removes any sort of satisfaction you get out of it, because in the end, when fucking Furiosa gets Dementus, if she kills him, she doesn't really achieve anything, and that's what he's kind of going on about. And I thought that was cool, but the problem is the whole movie kind of feels so, I guess how would I say this, so very normal. And it's weird because so many people describe this as like such a weird and detailed movie, when really to me it feels kind of not out there. It's very kind of standard and kind of messes up a lot of things to even create the foundation of really anything.
Thing was for me is like when Dementus starts ranting while Furiosa has him at her mercy, he's just like going through all the trope lines.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like, none of these lines mean anything to me because I haven't really gotten to know your character as like an actual consistent character. You're just kind of a idiot that's in charge of a lot of things, and inexplicably.
I mean, that's like true to life. You're an idiot who's in charge of a lot of important things.
No. It's not. That's nowhere near as the same thing. That's like trying to argue, yeah, they call out the guy in Glass Onion for being stupid, so it makes sense.
Oh no!
I'm really thinking about it, and I'm really thinking like the whole vengeance angle. It really could have been like the most interesting thing, and to me, this seems like an obvious like ideas and plants of seeds that they're trying to do here. Like, I like what it's going for, because in the end, guess what? Dementus, a seed's literally planted on top of him. He becomes like
the seed from the place of abundance that he was desperate to find.
He's dead.
What do you mean?
You can't have a seed planted in your balls and a tree growing out of it.
Instead of her taking like this sort of direct vengeance, she's sort of like moving past that, growing something out of that hate for something better. But it's weird that I like that, but at the same time, the movie doesn't really have a foundation for me to really care. So it sucks.
He wanted to... Interesting visual, interesting idea, but you didn't earn it.
Yeah, because I'm looking at, because I don't know, I'm not as hyperfixated on these plot details, but it really does add up here. Like, if it was just like a bit of something, like a bit of changes that really make something greater, I would have liked it. I'm good with what's considered a bad movie, but it has like decent enough character stuff. But this has nothing. It has absolutely nothing. It doesn't have the same visual quality and all. Yeah. And I thought like I like what it's trying to do, but it doesn't execute them well because it doesn't have a good context behind it, or straight up just the form, the visual language of it isn't as good. So yeah, I don't know. Yeah. The more I'm talking about it right now, the more I dislike it, because it feels like I'm. The way everyone's describing it, I really was anticipating this to be something more, but they really didn't give me anything. They gave me nothing.
Yeah, see,
It's empty
Yeah,
platitude
it's
of
like,
wards and other things of like revenge and all these myths. But it doesn't feel as mythic as like something like the previous Mad Max movies. Not these tales of like anything.
Is an angel of death.
There's
That's
nothing.
Furiosa.
That's nothing. They say these statements.
Only in the last 20 minutes.
They say these statements of grand poetry that you can write something about like in your letterbox review, but it doesn't really do anything visually to show that besides certain moments. I think this movie does look great in certain moments, but the overall thing doesn't look good. The whole overall thing is not good. So
Yeah,
I
and
don't know.
Well, going back to a little of what you said was like, yeah, if this movie had like interesting characters and stuff going on with it, then these plot issues would be, a little more excusable.
Yeah.
Because they actually did something with it.
Yeah, I don't know.
Tried and true example of the Suicide Squad, where the characters are really good, but the plot makes little sense.
See, look, exactly. I mean, yeah, that's a good example there too. Because I don't know. To me, I care more about the film itself, like the visuals, like the sound, and like the main character stuff, the main story, the main meat of what makes me come back to a movie, the main meat that makes me come back to any story. And I can't. Obviously, if the details of like how it's structured or how it's the lore makes any sense, of course that matters to a certain extent. I'm just not as hyperfixated on it as like some other people. And
I get it.
In the end,
This is why Xander doesn't want to talk about superhero films, by the way, because he's
frankly, I mean, it'd be cool if I was interested in that lore, but I'm just not because they don't lay it out good.
And that's perfectly fine.
Yeah, see, I could criticize those movies for the way they lay out the plot, but I don't really care about necessarily what the plot is because it's too much for me. It really is.
Yeah, it's fine.
Gotta get the MacGuffin.
I know I got angry at you previously when we talked about this movie, but I do generally dislike this movie just as much as you do. It just really does irk me that they made all these decisions, and I just don't think the way everyone's describing this movie, like even visually, just on a purely visual level, is not what I was thinking. I remember I was talking to a critic about, before I even saw the movie, at that point I'd only seen like the first 40 minutes, which I thought were like decent, and I was like talking about how like these wonders look really cool because George Miller can like really engage you like visually because there's a whole scene like as stupid as like the whole initial like the nipple thing. I think before that happens, the way that he visually lays it out is really good because
before that happens, there's a definite change.
Because
post nipple
sure.
separation.
Yeah, but like I know this is going into like film techniques and stuff, but it's like the way they block all the people, like the staging and everything, because it switches from like a 2-person shot to a 3-person shot and these different angles of it, and it keeps it really engaging but super subtle. Which there's this whole Twitter thread that goes on about like the one shots in the movie that are really well done, and even the ones where it's like this car and we're zoomed in and then we zoom out and then we go across this sort of like ravine to the other car on the other side, or we're showing more of it and then we're seeing like one of them going over another hill, and it's like it feels so very visually rich in those moments, but the overall thing doesn't just quite live up to it because even though the way he reveals information and the way everything's staged makes it feel engaging, it is not the actual like text of it is not engaging, and it sucks. I don't know. Because I from those clips alone, I was kind of sold on the movie because I was thinking, okay, maybe there could be more cool stuff involving this with the actual story, how it relates to anything. But no, it's just kind of, I don't know. I'm going on this whole gap session about like film techniques, but it is really important to me when the film is visually cohesive. That's why I don't straight up like have this at such a low rating or anything. I have, of course, still bad, but I do think Miller still has an understanding of like how to reveal information, how to do this. It's just the information itself is stupid.
Sure, I agree.
Yeah.
I really liked hearing all that from you.
Yeah,
no, that was good.
But to redirect back to breaking down stupid shit.
Yeah.
Dementus says after taking over the Bullet Farm, "Let's take back what's ours," about the Citadel. When he never had it. Did y'all give a shit about the
Hey,
dialogue?
Kurt,
It
trying to
doesn't really
figure
feel
out a way
like
to
it.
go around this.
George Miller came out with that thing,
Well,
that tweet that we all saw. That said, like, I could give a shit about film dialogue or something along those
Yeah, it
lines.
shows. It really shows.
I mean, I get it.
Remember,
I think it's cool when a
when they're-
movie visually shows information, but too
And
bad.
Anya Taylor Joy only has like 20 lines of dialogue.
But too bad.
It's all in her eyes.
Yeah, but too bad it's nothing. Just because an actor has a convincing face doesn't mean they're like it says a lot.
Beautiful face.
I think there's movies like 70s like New Hollywood stuff where they just allow the actors to react to something and that tells you a lot about the character. But also you still have that direct action and the direct dialogue to tell you about the character at the same time. So it's a good balance. Yeah. But in this movie it's too imbalanced towards you just get to show the implication through what the actors' faces are showing rather than what the actual text of the film is. I feel like that's always important because there's a certain ambiguity you can get when you have that direct text that makes sense and you can have a basis of what the character is. But once you look into the details of the performance, you can get more out of it. But we just have performance. It's just
like the Lord of the Rings movies are extremely rich in this.
Mm-hmm.
But the more you pay attention to any given character's performance, the more it really shows how consistent and interesting they are as characters throughout the whole thing.
Yeah. It feels like you get a rich amount because also the production design of that movie is fucking amazing. All of those movies, everything about them is just like on such a caliber. And then this, I know it's really hard to compare to something as like grand scale and as massive and as perfect as something like that is to this, but I mean,
I'd say Fury Road is a big film.
I'm not asking for Furiosa to be on that level, but I'm asking for it to just at least understand to tweak those things because I feel like Miller gets too lost in like the technical details, but not enough about like that plot stuff. And I can appreciate the craft, but it's like obviously I'm not like always focus on that. I mean, sometimes in movies I could care less about the plot and more about the visuals, but it really just depends on like what it is. And this movie's trying to go for the whole lore and like how Furiosa is just like trying to get out of the situation, but they don't give us enough context and doesn't give us enough things. Like I don't care if a story is like there's barely any story and it's all just very visually good. If it's focusing on that, that's okay. But that's not what this movie's doing. It's trying to be this big epic of like of these subtle things and these big ideas of revenge and redemption or whatever the fuck. But it doesn't say anything. I know I was weirdly quiet about this movie for a bit, but now that I'm here talking about it, it's just like I don't know.
It's a yap session.
Yeah, I know. Fuck you. I've been just like marinating my thoughts on it, and it's just like I just feel bad.
Well, that was all interesting to hear, Xander. It was very interesting to see how you come at it.
Yeah,
because I don't know. I was kind of in the background with Inside Out stuff because I don't really care as much about that. But Fury Road's a movie I generally do love, and it was very interesting to see you go from not liking that movie and telling me, "Oh, it's a bad movie," to you liking that movie and then hating Furiosa, and then we both sort of like got here to both agreeing on like, it's kind of bad.
Yeah, we're going on sort of general stuff.
And a critic's a critic, so yeah.
Hey, come on now. Look, I throw my 2 cents in on Furiosa. All right. I already admit that there's problems with the film. Like I've said that through so far.
Mm-hmm.
Like, there's a lot I can't argue stuff with blatantly like stuff. I still think that it is like a fine film. I think definitely on like the first time I watched it because I was at the cinema, and I think it's a long film as well. It's like 2.5 hours.
Mm-hmm.
There's like a certain point where you just sort of get overwhelmed. And you just sort of like your critical faculties sort of like go away, which I think is why you like a rewatch at home can like weaken films like this at the cinema.
See, this was kind of weird to me though as well. It's just like the fact that it is this long is very strange because
Fury Road is only like 2 hours perfectly.
Yeah, this is like by far the longest of the Mad Max films, even though this isn't the Mad Max film, but
it's Mad Max Saga.
Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, that runtime is clearly going to be for, like, exploring her character, exploring the background of all this, and it really didn't. The
Yeah.
thing, I said it when I posted like a simple review. This movie doesn't tell you anything about Furiosa that's interesting that you couldn't already glean from Fury Road.
Yeah, it's just sort of
Like,
like all the
even-
same stuff you already know. Although I guess it like sort of kind of like reintroduces you to this world because it's been like
if
9
anything,
years
it
since the last
undermines
film.
No, like I said before, if anything, it undermines what her character is in Fury
Oh yeah,
Road.
I definitely think if you watch them like back to back, I think it does kind of like jerk her a bit. But I think with the context of it coming out as like a film, like maybe if you go to see this film, like, hey, I saw Fury Road when it came out, I didn't watch it again. Is it meant to be like sort of like a reintroduction to all the elements? I guess maybe.
I mean, that might be why
But
people
then-
are way more positive about this, because some of them didn't rewatch Fury Road. Maybe they just went straight into
Yeah, I
this.
didn't watch Fury Road before I went to go and see it.
It might be
Yeah,
why.
but then, but then another
Well,
part of it as well is just the fact that I don't think this is a fine film on its own. I think that, like, even if you remove it entirely from Mad Max canon, there's so little for you to grasp onto in terms of character, theme, world building. It's just it's just not nearly as interesting as any of the other Mad Max films, even Beyond Thunderdome.
I think Beyond Thunderdome has the skeletons of like a really great like story, but it's too.
Yeah, it does. A lot of it is like really strangely edited and convenient.
It's also weirdly toned. I don't know. It's because
The tone is a little strange.
because we're
There's
in
like
it's like it's
two
very.
of the kids like die, and there's not much of anything done about that.
I feel like the
It's very
foundations of
strange.
Mad Max and Mad Max 2, they're found in very much in like smaller scale, more grounded filmmaking, which what makes Thunderdome really weird, because it's both grounded and also really weird at the same time, where it's like, oh, look at
then-
all these kids, and it's like we've reached so far.
But then
they
you
get
get
the
Fury
progression-
Road, which
'cause the
is sort of like a
progression is
balance
like-
of the same thing.
Because like the progression is like, oh, we're in a normal world, then we're in a kind of like gritty, kind of abandoned world, and then we're in a straight up like weird fantasy world. It just doesn't work for me. And Fury Road, it takes it to a whole level, and I think that's
Yeah.
where it truly like finally balances all out. And
Yeah, it
truly
gets
makes
the right balance between all the things. Because I've not seen any of the other Mad Max films,
Oh really?
but
Uh-huh.
no, I haven't.
Oh.
Maybe I should have watched the other three, but I did watch
Look,
Fury Road again before we did this.
I would recommend them.
I recommend the first
there's-
two a lot. The Beyond Thunderdome is even worth a watch. I think they're all interesting.
Yeah, I like Beyond Thunderdome. It's not all that good, but for what it is, I think it's okay compared to what we have in this.
Yeah, I don't know. I look at those first three movies as way more visually simple, because those are like the first movies Miller's directed, but they're
Yeah.
all really cool, and I like seeing the progression there. But they're definitely flawed in their.
It's like
own
Sam
ways.
Raimi in a way as well, with like the upgrade from the first Evil Dead to the second one,
For sure.
Nah.
and then Army of
Nah,
Darkness.
no. He peaked at the first
well,
Evil
not
Dead.
Army of Darkness.
No, he didn't peak at the first one. It's like a student film, and then
No,
the second film, he-
no. But that's what
Shut
makes it.
up,
That's
Xander, we're
no,
not
but that's
talking
what makes it
about
so
you,
good.
let's
That's what makes it so.
Shut
That's what
up.
makes the first one so good, because it's that student film quality. It's so like raw.
Well,
and
yeah,
shit.
and I appreciate that as a film student as well. I appreciate all like the hands-on bits, but then
Yeah.
the second film is like the
It's
vision
so
fully
funny.
realized.
It's so funny that the whole opening, or like the whole thing where it's like the camera's floating and like going through the woods, was literally just a camera on
on
a
a bike.
fucking stick or whatever. It's so funny, but I don't want to talk about the Evil Dead.
Yeah, going back
Yeah.
to Furiosa,
Yeah.
we finally, in my breakdown here, we finally reached this whole section of the film where Furiosa is finally going to lose her arm. Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Where she had a metal arm in Fury Road.
She got the robot arm.
Oh, how'd she lose that arm? What happened?
Okay, so
Or-
there.
or-
Okay,
like-
so.
But, no, hold on.
Oh, okay.
I'm going to explain it in detail.
What if I do it?
Okay.
Like,
Oh.
they're in a chase with Dementus and his crew.
Yeah.
And then she reaches out her arm to shoot at them, and they inexplicably are fast enough to run into the side for her not to have been able to move her arm back into the vehicle, so her arm gets, like, massively screwed up by the giant wheel crashing against it.
Yeah.
Like, oh, that's like a trick of editing. She would totally take her arm back in. Then when they've finally, made Furiosa and Jack crash out both inexplicably alive because we got to have the main character survive car crashes.
Yep.
And they have the bikers drive around dragging Jack's dying body. They're like, okay, we're gonna hook up Furiosa to the back of the truck.
Back of a crane.
Back on the little crane.
Yep.
And they're like, they're gonna do both for arms, and then Dementor's like, no, just that one, the one that's all screwed up.
Yeah, to maximize the pain.
And it's like, okay, yeah, that's the idea, but then we just have like kind of a fading transition of them circling around this whole time, probably like an hour at the least that they've been doing this.
Mm-hmm.
And then we pan over to, oh look, she's gone and her arm is there. Oh wow, she teleported.
No, she didn't teleport. She just snuck away.
No, she did. No, she can't possibly sneak away. Because, listen, you're telling me she was able to tear her own arm off while hanging from it without ever screaming or letting out any bit of noise that anyone would have paid attention to? And these people are circling them this whole time. Nobody says, hey, she's trying to rip her arm off and escape. And then she's able to do that and escapes. And nobody sees this while circling around for at least an hour. It's like everyone went blind for some reason.
I mean, when they were on their bikes, they were like kicking up a lot of dust.
Yeah, I literally just made fun of you! I literally just made fun of that point! Holy shit! Bro has actual dementia in 2 seconds.
Stupid and trap! Like, come on!
Hey man, trust better. Trust better. Trust better.
This is one of the stupidest ways they could have had this. Like, why did they?
Trust better.
Can I say something about that sequence there for a minute? Because you have that bit where they cut to her like walking through the desert, and they have that shot on like the cliff. Is that meant to be Max with the car? Well, what was he doing there?
He was there.
He was just there.
Remember Max?
Yeah, I remember Max, but like he doesn't show up at this point yet. Isn't there like a few more years before Fury Road?
Yep. Yeah. It's meant to be.
I was just wondering what he was. Wondering what he was doing there. I just thought it was odd.
That's why the whole thing.
Hey, look, there's Max. Remember Max?
It wasn't even clear to me though. I was like, "Who's that? Is that meant to be Max?" They never draw attention because it's not.
It's supposed to look like one of the shots from the beginning of Fury Road when he's standing on the cliff.
Yeah,
but this doesn't make sense because this movie shouldn't directly take place right into Fury Road. Because the whole tree growing and like time passes, it's clear time passes.
Yeah, time has to pass.
I mean, like the tree growing, maybe that's like a flash forward to like after Fury Road because it's very unclear.
Wait, no. Wait, no. It's a flash forward.
That's still,
it's a flash forward because you see her getting into the car along with the wives. Like, that's the whole thing.
Yeah, but how do we know that that's not like being interspliced?
No. I can tell you why. Because she takes the peach from the grown tree.
Exactly.
And she takes it to the wives.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, now I remember. Okay.
But
it's clear,
going back to this, so she, can inexplicably tear off her own arm and teleport with no problem at all.
I mean, it was already pretty fucked by that point by the tire, so it might have made it easier to like. Cut it off.
I know what the idea is. It's retarded. I'm sorry.
Can I also ask? That's her left arm that she loses is the same one that she has like the constellations on, right? To like get home.
The movie fools you into thinking this is significant.
Yeah.
This is part of like why people think that this is significant because they haven't rewatched Fury Road. She didn't need the star map in Fury Road. She just knew where to go.
Yeah, because I mean, I guess they were already heading in that direction.
No,
right as
she knew where to go. She was the one driving the whole time.
Yeah, in Fury Road, she knew where she was going, because in Furiosa, they tried to get that way, but then they got stopped. So I guess she didn't need the constellation tattoo? I don't know.
It's dumb.
Yeah, but
weird.
The idea is that it is significant that she loses that arm because the star map is on it. Even though that doesn't make any sense.
I know, it's
weird. Knows how to get to the green place.
Mm.
So it's not meaningful for her character, and it's not meaningful for the plot. It's just, hey, here's how she lost her arm, and it's really stupid.
Because even when I did watch the film at the first when I saw that, oh yeah, it's the arm with the constellation on it, I was like, wait a second, but I don't remember in Fury Road that she was like lost trying to get there. Doesn't the whole film like kick off with her like getting straight on it? This was me in the cinema, by the way, when I first saw it.
She just like gets straight into it.
Yeah.
Weird.
She drives past it is the thing. Also, who took Furiosa back to the Citadel?
She
did it all herself.
She teleported again.
She teleported again. She's so
no. Hold on
she's
here.
So far, and she's bleeding out. And we just have, oh look, Max is there. And then
maybe Max took her back, and then he had like
Why
dementia.
would Max interact with her?
Because maybe he had like dementia and he forgot what the Citadel was.
What the fuck are you on about? Why would he know where the Citadel is?
I don't know. Because I don't know. I don't know what the point of the shot is. Outside of like saying maybe he did something.
In the opening of Fury Road, he looks out and sees this whole area and is like, what the fuck is this place?
If he had taken her to the Citadel using his V8, that would be significant. Because then, the people of the Citadel would take the V8, like they do in the beginning of the episode.
Again, look, I'm not saying that's like the definite thing. I'm just trying to like pick it up with what the film's
You're
presenting.
Trying to rationalize
it
even stupid. Look, you're trying to rationalize even the stupid
with these maggot people.
Exactly.
Like, did the maggot people take her here? What were they doing out here? Hello? What?
The maggot people.
She just teleported again.
And the maggots like heal,
no logical
or like his help. The maggots are like helping her wound or some shit. I don't know what's going on with that.
Yeah, that's a thing. Yeah. It is a thing, but they like get rid of the blood and stuff. Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird, but like whatever. But besides that,
was a freaky bit.
Like she teleported again. We teleported her twice just for the sake of having her lose her arm and come back to.
But we're really thinking of any excuse for anything to be freaky. Just because there's maggots, it doesn't mean it's freaky, bruh.
It was fucking grim, that whole section.
It was, yeah.
It wasn't that freaky.
It's very disgusting.
It's not freaky in the way you think it is, Xander. It was.
Wait, what freak are we talking about? Are we talking about freaky?
What freak are you talking about?
The meaning of freaky.
Yeah.
Shut up.
No, but what about freaky or freaky?
Shut up, Xander.
What are you talking about?
Also, she gets her robot arm from taking it off a wheelchair.
What? Really? I forgot that.
Why are you acting like this is new information to you? What the hell?
I thought she like took it
from a wheelchair.
I thought she like took it from like car bits and stuff.
No, but there was a wheelchair that specifically had an arm on it, and she just took it and did like a few little shenanigans to it, and then boom, that's her arm.
Oh.
Why was that the thing that you did?
I don't know.
It's a wheelchair. She did actually build it herself.
I mean, it's not like it's like a.
Like you want her to be really cool, right? Have her build it herself. That would be cooler than her taking it from a wheelchair. I don't know, dude. It's so annoying. Then we finally get to her big revenge showdown with Dementus. And
we're back here again.
So long with the most tropey revenge dialogue ever. Like, I don't care if you think this is a good revenge story. This is like the most base level it could possibly be. I think she starts screaming at him to bring them back, give them back. It's like, what? You know they can't.
I think this would have been cool. I know you think it's lame, but I think it would have been cooler if the fact there was anything building up to it. But there's just nothing. So, all you have is a mother dying, so it's just not really much of anything. So, yeah.
Then taking her away from her home.
Like, even if it sounds lame, if it had actual meaning, and if we had the text to back it up, then it would have meant something, but no.
And then also, the thing is, it's like, if the whole deal for her in this is to learn that revenge doesn't solve anything, that's also undermining Fury Road, because the final line she has to Immortan Joe in Fury Road is "Remember me."
Yeah,
which is extremely significant in her original backstory. It makes no sense given the context of this movie. Because she doesn't have the revenge thing against
what does she have against
Joe
Immortan Joe in this? Like, there's nothing to back up that she was ever against Immortan Joe in any way.
Go with him instead of Dementus, and then even like deals with him personally, like a couple of times. Like, she has nothing against Immortan Joe personally, like she does in the original story.
There's a thing with the brides, but that's only like one scene in the film.
Yeah, which is not nearly enough to make me believe that she does what she does.
Mm-hmm.
Where, they lead into Fury Road by her getting the brides out. Like, oh, great. You did not earn this whatsoever. And then you have the gall to play Fury Road clips throughout the credits where the footage is all desaturated. I don't know why you desaturated it. It just looks worse.
Well, there is a black and chrome cut of this movie.
And it's just like, well, and it's like, if you watch this and then watch Fury Road, you've already seen clips from Fury Road. It's like a Fury Road highlight reel.
Well, I mean, that's the whole point. Is just like, it's like we're leading in as this story ends, but whatever.
Yeah, it's like I said, like maybe like 9 years gap between this and Fury Road. It's like for people who maybe have not seen Fury Road in a long time. It's like, hey, the Fury Road's right after this.
Fury Road. What's especially annoying to me, and why I get so caught up in this as much as I do, is like the narrative around this movie and its tragic failure is stupid. It's so stupid. Critics were like, oh, why isn't this movie succeeding? We don't know what audiences want anymore. You don't know what we want anymore. When it's a spin-off prequel from a 9-year-old film. Like, what? What do you mean? There are plenty of people who said this and just like, why would that be exactly what we want? I don't know. Doesn't make much sense to me. And then it's like, but the film is so good, why is nobody going to see it? It's not good, is the thing. It didn't have a good word of mouth.
See,
there were plenty of people who got to see it, but they didn't really care enough to tell everyone, hey, go watch this.
Even if you believed it was like this great, amazing
I tried to.
Even if you thought it was a great movie and you spread word about it, the thing is, it's a lot less of a hooker than fucking Fury Road, because Fury Road's like constantly moving. There's something to follow there. You fucking Gooner, keep it in the fucking horny server, okay?
Keep it in your pants.
Keep it in your pants. As I was saying, there's a lot more of a easy way to just get into that. But Furiosa, there's a pretext is that you have to see the previous movies. And if we're talking about the general audience, they're very stupid and they wouldn't do that. Let's just be real. Let's just be real on that.
Well, you say that, but then you look
no. Shh.
All right.
Shh.
No, but like when a sequel to like a franchise comes out, like Alien Romulus, like I saw like loads of people going back and watching all the old Alien films.
That's Letterboxd users.
Users are not the general audience.
Look. Get out of your like letterbox fucking what's the word for, letterbox bubble. Get out of that. We're talking about the general public here. See, Alien is a sellable franchise is because the only reason it's a sellable franchise is because I remember Alien, I remember Aliens, and I remember all these other movies that came out throughout the years. It's a thing that's constantly in your brain, and you don't really think about like, I have to know the lore. But with the implication of the title and everything, it's like it's not just another sequel. You need to know about all the lore. It's a Mad Max Saga. It's a prequel. So there's a lot more,
I haven't needed to because I haven't watched any of the old Mad Max films. I've only seen this in Fury Road.
Because you're rational. Because you're rational.
This one is more directly in continuity with Fury Road. And the thing is, like the 4 Mad Max movies, they are in continuity, but you don't necessarily need to see the other ones to understand where you are in the next one.
Yeah, and even when we're thinking about that, that's a niche thing that not as many people know that about the fucking movies. It's fine. And so, and another thing is, because we were so stuck on this point, but the other point is, it's slower, and it's such a big runtime, and another thing is people are getting tired of those long run times. I see a lot more people way more praising, like, shorter 90-minute movies that know what they're doing and get straight to the point. I see a lot more of that than just like, oh, I love these big long movies, because people are fucking tired of that shit. Because people are limited. They don't get to spend all their money to go to the theater and go see a great, what might be a great movie, because it's both, one, it's expensive, two, it's a time consumer, and it's like, it's a whole thing. We discussed this, frankly, in the last episode, and it's like, that's the whole thing with going to the theater and going out to see a movie. It's a hard sell, and you really need to have like an engaging thing. It's cool that George Miller was able to make this movie, even if you don't like it. I think whatever artistic pursuits he's trying to go for, whatever. But if we're talking purely on a financial level, which is what everyone's trying to do, this was not going to be a guaranteed hit, and it would have been miraculous that it made a lot of money. It would have been miraculous.
Because it's admittedly like a niche audience.
Yeah.
Yeah, the thing was, the first 3 Mad Max movies were very, very huge hits for each of their times.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I believe the first and then the second were like 2 of the most highest grossing indie films ever.
Yeah, independent films, yeah.
Yeah. And then Fury Road
they're like on the
did
same
make a fair bit of money, but it didn't make any year those did.
Yeah.
It only really got the recognition a little later on. So the audience wasn't there.
I mean, just because barely anybody saw it doesn't discredit it from being like a good film.
Yeah, obviously.
No, of course.
Obviously, that's what I've been trying to say. I'm saying if we're looking at this from a financial and marketing standpoint, this was not going to be a great success.
Yeah.
And
this wasn't going to be $1 billion smash.
And as an artistic pursuit, I'm cool with it, but we can all have our own opinions on the film itself, and I don't think it's good.
No.
I
think that it has shockingly little to say and to do with any of what it does. Mm-hmm. It's just very empty of a film that feels like it just jumps from point to point with real rhyme or reason.
Most movies you can have excuses like well produced and all these people worked on it, or really just all people work on it. It's not well produced and you feel bad for it, but that doesn't mean anything. We're talking about an opinion on a movie. We're not talking about the morals here. On artistic pursuits. We're not talking about that. We're just talking about straight up the movie.
What's funny is I again have a easy example of this versus Fury Road is like Dragon Ball Super versus Dragon Ball Z, where Dragon Ball Z has a lot of really good character stuff going on in it that matters throughout all the story. And Dragon Ball Super has like a moments of decent character and things, but most of it is nonsense and just cool for the sake of cool. It's exactly what Furiosa is. It's just like, hey, look at all this cool stuff that they're doing, and it just doesn't have much of anything to say about any of it.
You said this film was like Solo, a Star Wars story. Was it the bit with the arm? Is that what you were? Yeah, all right, okay, I get it. What else did I want to say? You said that people don't have time for like movies that like go over 2 hours. I agree with that. I think we do need more shorter films. But whenever I do try and like say that to people say, "Oh, well, you just have a fucking short attention span. You can't handle."
Well, you're talking about your limited scope of who you talk to. What I'm saying is a general audience.
I know a general audience, but then other people come in and say like, we need longer films because people's attention spans are getting shorter.
Yeah, because we have so different opinions within that film Twitter bubble. What we're talking about is the general public.
I'm not on Twitter. Yeah.
Exactly. I don't care.
It's okay.
It's the same thing. But to me, it's like you can argue on runtimes, and how like valid they are. I think they're all valid depending on the movie. But if we're talking about the general public, it is easier for them to invest in something 2 hours or less. Like 2 hours, like the highest you can go for most movies, because I think you really just need to have a good sell for you to justify that runtime. And if you have a big enough of a niche audience, maybe a 3 hour movie can make like a lot of money, like, or just like trusting what's been coming out. Just okay. No matter what you think about John Wick, it's fucking it's so weird that Chapter 4 made so much money, even though it is a very long movie. Maybe it's because generally people like it, and
Because there's a lot of hype riding on it from the third film.
Last, like star power.
Yeah.
in existence right now. So.
So
And there was a lot of hype riding on the third one with how it ended.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you could argue the quality of Chapter 3, but you can't deny that there are people who were excited to see what happens next.
I will agree that Furiosa is better than the John Wick sequels.
Okay, good.
But that's a low bar for you, isn't it?
Very.
I think John Wick 3 is better, personally. Me personally.
Nah, John Wick 4 is where it's at. Nah, John Wick 4 is where it's at.
No, it's too long. There's stretches where I'm like, it's kind of fun, but it's too much. It's too long. Yeah, exactly. Can't do it.
Actually, no. John Wick 3 has the book. John Wick 3 has the library scene.
The library scene is ass. It's fucking.
The library scene's amazing.
Why does he just go up to announce himself to John and just kill him?
Because he wanted to. I don't know. I haven't seen the film since it came out. I can't say anything.
You didn't rewatch them before watching Chapter 4?
Can you?
What did you say, Xander?
You didn't watch them before watching Chapter 4?
Oh, I couldn't be arsed.
Fuck you, man. Yes, it's fucking crazy because I remember I was watching all of the Mission Impossible movies even before, like, I thought, oh yeah, Dead Reckoning's gonna come out. And then when Dead Reckoning was coming around, I literally did rewatch all the fucking movies again.
Yeah, but here's the thing though, Xander, is that I'd already seen all the John Wick films before I saw 4, so I didn't really feel like I needed to catch up, and also because they're not that
Well, what if
complex.
you didn't have a clear memory?
I could remember them. They're not hard. I started and stopped the third one like 5 times because I tried to watch it with my dad and he kept falling asleep.
Literally, you just said you forgot about what happened in that library scene, so I don't think that's
No,
true.
I didn't say I forgot about it.
You forgot aspects of it. You forgot aspects of it. You made that very clear.
Yeah, but like, I remember how it ended. Pretty funny how it ended.
But what about all the context leading up to the ending, bruh?
Halle Berry wasn't even in the 4th one. She was just there for like a bit and then just gone again.
Doesn't that seem kind of stupid?
I don't know. But the thing with Mission Impossible is I'd never seen any of those films before I watched 7, so I was like,
what I'm talking about is I rewatched them before seeing the new one, especially if it's been a while, like I said, since like watching what. So the third movie was in 2019, and then the new one was in fucking
2023.
Yeah, so like, there's a valid reason for you to rewatch them, but you didn't because you're stupid. So
I'm not stupid. I just didn't need to.
I win argument by saying you're stupid. Stop talking so I can win the argument. Stop talking. I didn't have
a desire to watch those films again because I was like, oh, 4th one, I probably know what's going to happen in this. Let's go. And yeah, I didn't need to watch the 3 films again because just
Yeah, because all the sequels are awful.
Yeah, man.
Well, no, it's just like it's easy to follow.
They're easy
relatively.
2's bad.
As soon as you start thinking about it.
2 is bad. I think it's sort of bad, but like 3, I think it's just like so fucking stupid that I just kind of accepted it. I was just like, yeah, I like this.
3 is like kind of a clown movie. And even compared to the other ones, it's just like we have a character who's a huge fan of John Wick.
I love it. I love him so much. I love him so much. He's so good. He's so good. He's genuinely like my favorite John Wick character. I wish he didn't die.
Yeah, because it's funny as shit. It's so stupid.
I love him so much. He's genuinely like my favorite character. He's so cool. I hate it. He's so fucking stupid. I love him.
So it's enough about John Wick. Let's try and end on Furiosa. So do we have anything else more to say about Furiosa, a Mad Max Saga, 2024?
Don't watch it.
Not really. It was bad.
It has its merits.
I was just more disappointed and less infuriated. Just very disappointed in what came out of it. Because it was a long wait and we just didn't get anything out of it. So
I was very pissed off because of, decisions like, oh yeah, but we can't have a sex slave be a hero. Mm-hmm. I find that insulting. I think this film deserved to bomb.
I find it more insulting that he just like threw it out there and didn't even explain himself.
I wouldn't say it deserved to bomb. I'd just say it was kind of inevitable.
I'm just saying, it's like films like Furiosa that are like around the same level of quality, like blockbusters, but they still do like money. Like Fast and the Furious, Those are
Well, it's because those constantly
very.
come out and people trust it for some reason, and also the general
Fast and
atmosphere
Furious is just
around
like
the reputation. Those movies have become like they're dumb fun. Go watch them. Like that's
yeah,
that's the
they're
whole
like-
thing.
just like it's like a dumb fun audience popcorn flick thing is the thing. Like I don't even really like most of those movies at all, but I get it, and
Mhm.
you know, we've gone over plenty of the reasons why it makes sense this didn't do well. Another one, I don't know how valid it is, but another one that's potentially possible is, as sad as it sounds, probably a lot of people were afraid this would be like one of those girl boss action movies.
It isn't. I don't think it is.
No, it's not. I don't think that it is. I just think that it's really terrible. You know, just like Captain Marvel or you know, Ghostbusters 2016. There was, you know, stuff like that that's come out that really
that shit was 8 years ago,
people.
man.
Yeah, but it's still a stain.
Yeah. It's still like a stain in people's
Even after like
minds.
the other two, like Ghostbusters Afterlife and Frozen Empire, people
Yep,
still keep on coming back to that 2016 reboot.
Yeah, those new Ghostbusters are terrible too. So
I know they're not great.
Hey,
I know they aren't.
It's
But
like it's like the fact that we have like the worst movie ever made that it makes bad movies still look good. It's so weird.
I know.
And also
I just
nostalgia
like
bait.
it's just like that was 8 years ago. Like that's 8 years ago.
And what I think we should just wrap on the movies.
All right, so Furiosa, Mad Max Saga. Are we giving out ratings?
Yeah, I give it a
right.
4 out of 10 with a frowny face on it. Yeah.
Silver.
I give it a 3 out of 10 with like an angry face on it.
All right.
So originally I had this at an 8, and on rewatch I also gave it an 8. I think after this conversation, I probably will like lower it by like down to a 6, just about. Give it a 6. I still like parts of this film. I like Anya Taylor Joy, and I think she does a really great job in this film.
Man, you're just
Chuck, shut up.
jerking off.
No,
You're just
they're
gooning.
better.
You're just gooning.
He has more
You're just
content.
gooning. You're just gooning.
No, I'm not.
You're just a gooner. Looking
I will
deep
say
into her
what-
eyes and jerking
no.
off.
No, it's just when
Man.
look. I will admit, Charlize Theron was really great as Furiosa. When I rewatched Furiosa, I thought she was great. But Anya Taylor Joy, she does a good job as well. She just does a lot with those eyes, and she does a lot with her body language. Just doesn't have to say anything.
Stop!
No, what?
Stop!
No, I'm giving.
Look! A performance is supposed to enhance the text. Guess what? The text is shit. So there.
Well, the text just doesn't exist because George Miller doesn't like film dialogue.
No, fuck. You're right. It's just storyboards of shit, man.
It's just a lot of intensity in those eyes, which I guess is there. And also, Chris Hemsworth, people liked him the most.
I think
He's fun.
he
actually
does
trying.
he does the best, and I think that might be why I ignore the fact that it's really corny in the end, like the whole monologue. I think he just performs it well.
Yeah.
He's cool.
Yeah.
He was inspired by a seagull. Good for him.
Yeah, good for him.
I don't even know how he got that from a seagull, but okay.
It must have been a really
it
fucking
makes
freaky
sense. It's
seagull.
like,
Damn,
the seagull was also a super lucky idiot.
man.
So I give Furiosa a 6, which
Alright.
could be seen as generous, but I think given I used to have it at an 8,
That
I
is.
think is fair enough.
This is massive. He's starting to
This is,
believe. Yeah.
Look, you guys made lots of points like fully like hashing it out instead of just like pissing each other off with like little bits and pieces, just like properly hashing it out. Has made me like think about it differently.
I was so prepared for like just Silver and Acre to just yell at each other, and I'd just be in the background just like watching. But,
Well, there was some butting heads at parts, but I wouldn't say yelling because we don't want to yell. But you'll happily yell, Xander.
Oh yes, of course I'll fucking yell because I'll do whatever I want. But yeah. So. Yeah.
So that's Furiosa, Mad Max Saga.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Very, very, very middling, very disappointing lineup we have today on the dumps.
Yep.
Yeah.
I think it's
Inside
really.
Out 2 being the superior film is crazy.
I'm willing to say they're on like the same level of quality.
No.
Uh,
Inside Out 2 at least has more to say and to do with its characters.
True.
I'll give you that.
Nah, but it's a 0 out of 10 because there's no Bill Hader. So.
Oh, well, fair enough. Fair
Yeah.
enough. Worthless movie. Worst movie of the entire year. Nothing will beat
It's
it.
worse than Civil War.
Where's the Megamind 2?
It's worse than Rebel Moon Part 2.
Oh fuck, man! You just had to think about that, bro. Fuck, fuck you, man.
No.
I'm not watching those movies. I only watched that first one. I'm not watching the extended cuts. I'm not doing shit. You won't get me to, bro. It's not happening.
Apparently they drink blood in the extended editions.
Why did they drink blood?
Because they don't have water.
That's so dumb.
Well, I mean,
What?
blood's not very tasty. Blood will just make you like hungrier.
Yeah, that's why you got. That's why you gotta drink piss. Like in fucking Better Call Saul, just drink piss.
Well, yeah, piss will keep you hydrated. At the very least.
Exactly.
Blood is just got that metallic tang. It upsets your stomach.
Yeah, why would you? That's so dumb. Why is Zack Snyder just the fucking idiot? Why is he like this?
I'm convinced he's just stuck mentally at 14. That's how far he got.
It's kind of crazy.
But everyone's known that for years, Silver. There's nothing new here. It's just the same old shit.
It's just the more that like we get just like his pure vision of things, the more clear it is how stupid he is.
Look, this ties all the way back to when he did fucking Watchmen and the way he approaches the source material and what he thinks of it.
We talked about the sex scene, but it's fucking crazy, bro. There's no fucking way.
Sex scene is in the comic. They cut away from it in the comic, but we gotta see it full erotic.
Hallelujah! Hallelujah!
Yeah. Like, Watchmen's a good movie. It's just you can tell Zack Snyder's not there for the actual story.
He's gonna make everything look cool.
But also, like he didn't actually do the cinematography and stuff for all his movies until Army of the Dead and Rebel Moon, which objectively look
fucking horrible.
Worse. They look totally awful.
Looks so bad.
Army of Dead. No, yeah, Army of Dead. Is that it?
Army of the Dead.
Yeah, that looked like puke from what I can remember of it.
Yeah, that's what I remember too. I
think one of you said earlier in the start of the podcast, you said like it's just been nothing but like sequels from this year so far. I'm looking at all the films I've seen so far. It is either just remakes or sequels or continuations of IPs.
I know.
I gotta run through this.
We've been going over this. We went over this literally last episode, but it's such a barren year, bruh. It's so barren.
Do you want me to run through a few things on my watch this year? So we got Dune Part 2. We've got Megamind 2, Ghostbusters: Frozen Empire. We've got Furiosa, of course. Inside Out 2, Twisters, which was good. I really like Twisters.
Yeah.
Deadpool and Wolverine, Alien Romulus, Beetlejuice. And there's a lot more to come as well. There's another Transformers film, which I am excited for. I'm really excited for Transformers 1. Good. Yeah. You guys have already seen it, but I still gotta wait like a couple more weeks.
It'll
be worth the wait. I think you'll really like it.
I hope so. Yeah, no, it's just like a lot of like sequels and stuff this year.
Really?
Kung Fu Panda 4.
Okay, don't let me think about that, man. Don't let me think about that.
Despicable Me 4.
My mood is ruined.
No.
My mood is ruined. Just fight you mentioned Kung Fu Panda 4.
Song.
God damn. What are you doing?
Quiet Place Day 1.
It's so sad because, I had that whole thing where I was trying to write the whole ranking list of 2023, and there was so much that became like too much work to do. But then with this year, it's literally just 25 movies, and only fucking what, 8?
Half of them.
Like 8, like 8 of them I actually really like, and then like 2 of them, no, 4 of them I thought were fine, and then the rest are just bad. So it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
Yeah. Of the ones I've seen, there are 5 I can confidently call good. I like The Fall Guy. I don't know if it would be that good on a rewatch, but I like it. I think it's neat.
4 out of the 5 movies at the top are original movies, and I thought those were cool.
Yeah, my top
special was great. Watchmen Chapter 1 was as far as I can tell, it's a more accurate retelling of the comic than the Snyder movie, and it's less.
But then does it add anything instead of just like redoing the comic again?
I think it's just doing the comic is the thing. It didn't feel all that different.
I mean,
It's good because of that, but it's just eh. And then Transformers 1, Twisters, and Dune Part 2 they're all good.
Yeah, Twisters is good. Yeah.
Both Twisters are great.
No.
No,
Leave.
leave.
I will get my propaganda out here. Twister from 1996 starring Bill Paxton, Howard Hunt. What a fucking
It's
underappreciated movie.
cheesy nostalgia. There's
No
nothing
nostalgia.
there. It's
I don't know anybody. I don't know
Flat.
anybody who's getting nostalgia over Twister.
There are so many people nostalgic over Twister. I don't know what you're talking about.
But there's not even like any like fan service in like Twisters. It's just like could not even be like a sequel.
Why do
There's
you think the
no
sequel's
one's getting-
greenlit? Because
no
people
one's
like
getting
the
nostalgia.
original.
Well, I can see why you would say it's better than Furiosa, because it is.
What, Twister?
Yeah.
Oh, the original Twister.
Oh, I
Yeah.
wouldn't say that. No.
It's less
Yeah, no.
garbage than Furiosa.
No, but I think Twister is badly directed, so I don't know.
Oh no, it's not.
I think it is.
No, it isn't.
Yes,
There
it
are
is.
plenty of parts where it is. It's kind of embarrassing.
Mhm.
You always mention the suck zone, the
The
cow,
suck
and
zone.
the house.
It's
And
weird.
that's all you
They-
mention every time.
It's not just those bits. It's the people. It's the storm chasers and it's the
They're-
The
camaraderie.
people are so
Annoying.
boring.
Stupid. They're so stupid.
They're not stupid.
They are very stupid. It feels like they don't want to live half the time. As
That's the whole
opposed to
point. They're thrill
Twisters.
seekers. They're thrill seekers. They're tempted fate.
Dude, Twisters has thrill seekers, but it feels like they actually want to live.
I mean, Glenn Powell. Meh.
He absolutely wants to live.
I mean, he's tempted fate as well, just like the storm chasers in the original.
Stop. We need to put a stop to
We're
you.
not talking about Twister anymore.
Fuck.
Stop.
Fuck Twister.
Love Twister. Genuinely, I feel like I'm insane.
You are.
Oh, I don't know what it is that clicked with me with that film, but everyone else hates it.
Twisters
I'm not
is
breaking
pretty
down
great.
Twister for you. I'm not
We're not
doing
doing
it.
this again.
No,
We're
we'd
not
be-
doing this again.
No, we'd be here for another hour if we did Twister.
God, no, I don't want to do this. No, I would.
No, all right, well,
even
all right, let's not do-
if we did Twister, I would at least keep it at like 20 minutes. Fuck it. Fucking, I don't care.
All right, no Twister.
It's funny, like when I'm gonna put this.
Have an episode on the next John Wick and Twister.
Oh, that'd be great. I'd love to do that.
No, that's gonna be horrible. Oh my
No.
god.
You have to do John Wick, which
No,
is like silly.
No.
It's
Okay.
I'm not being serious, a critic. Don't you dare.
Look.
Darn it.
Listen,
I would be
the Puppet
willing.
Master episode
look.
will happen before that.
I'd be willing to do fucking like John Wick Chapter 5, but I'm not doing fucking Twister. I do Twisters.
What about the
So boring.
what? No, Twister wasn't boring.
Yes, it was. I fell
It
asleep.
was. I wasn't bored.
Xander actually fell asleep.
Yeah, I did.
I know you keep telling me he fell asleep, but I didn't.
Look, I was
Yep.
sitting down, upright in proper posture, and I still
Yeah.
fell asleep.
Yeah, while Israel and I were talking and giggling about it the whole time, he still fell asleep.
I was
Well,
asleep.
you know, when you're a teenager, you gotta catch your.
I got
sleep
good.
whenever you can.
I clarified this to you. I had good sleep that day, so it's not even that. It was just a bad movie. It was so bad that it made me fell asleep on a good sleep schedule in proper posture, sitting down.
Improper posture.
Posture.
There we go.
Fuck you. You
Uh,
can't grammar your way out of this, bro. It's not gonna do anything.
No,
Would you
don't
say
worry,
that?
we'll do a twist.
Would you say
we'll
that
do
to a guy
Twister
who has
episode.
like tics or something and he like mispronounces something? No, it's still straight to the point. I fell
Well, no, that's
asleep.
genuinely. All right. Just wait, guys. Listeners, we're doing Twister.
No, we're
we'll do
not.
Twister for
No, we're
an
not.
episode.
No, we're not.
It'll
Even though
never
you're the
happen.
co-host, you have no control on what movies you're doing. No
Yeah,
control.
yeah, I do.
No, you don't.
I have
have
suggestions.
No, you don't.
Yeah, I do.
No more. No more.
What do you mean, no more?
He's allowed to speak, Xander.
Fuck speaking.
It's the whole point of why I'm on
He
here.
should be like fucking. What was I gonna say? Never mind. I forgot. Never mind.
Yeah.
He's not the ODT or Garfield, okay? That's not. It's not how it is.
Yes, he is.
But even then, people like Odie more than Garfield. People say,
Hey!
Odie's the best part.
Hey! Hey. Fuck, you're like YB. I'm just gonna fucking like remove your mouth. Or just like twist it and like, tie it together.
Oh.
You won't be able to speak anymore. You're just allowed to smile. That's all you're allowed to do.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say like I'm Beaker and you're Bunsen.
Nope.
That's right, Beaker.
All right.
Huh.
I think that's just about it. I don't have much else to talk about.
Man.
Yeah, I guess we could end it quick, shortly there. But yeah, I think we're just about done here. That was another episode of the Dumps.
Yeah.
This was featuring Silver. Silver, we very nice to have you on here again.
It's nice to have you.
Even though I wasn't here last time.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Cool.
We've had a lot of deep talks, a lot of nice conversations, had some changing, had some laughs, and yeah, it's been constructive overall, I'd say.
Yeah, I think so. It's funny though. I think we spent 80% of the time on Furiosa. Pretty sure.
Yes, I was about to say, if in comparison to how much we talked about both Inside Out.
About that. That's the thing. So.
I completely forgot about Inside Out. I was just like so fucking raptured by like, oh right, we have this movie.
Furiosa was like the main thing Silver wanted to talk about, and then Inside Out 2 was just kind of like, oh, we need another 2024 film.
Yeah,
no, that wasn't the thing.
Not really. It's because of like we explained it before, but yeah, like. Yeah. It just turns out like there was really just not much to talk about because it's ended up being surprisingly just fine. Maybe next time you're on, we'll have like the worst Pixar movie ever made just like happen.
Cars 2? No. Lightyear? No.
No, like
Red?
a new one. Like
what is the worst one anymore?
I think.
Oh, okay.
That doesn't matter.
I think the idea is like there's got to be something that's gonna be worse and it comes out and it's gonna be like the worst thing ever. It's gonna be great. And some of the top a teenager shaking booty to their mom. That'll be fun.
What?
They'll top that somehow.
Yeah. Don't you dare post that. I will kill you.
It all loops back to child prostitution. That's all I'm saying.
Oh, that's not child prostitution.
It is now.
One more thing I wanted to talk about. You said Pete Docter said he wanted to like move away from like personal stories from directors and just do sequels.
Someone like Pete Docter. I forget if it was Pete Docter.
That's such a like heavy-handed way of fixing the problem. The problem was not doing like personal stories because like Luca is great. Everyone likes Luca. Yeah. The problem is that Turning Red just wasn't that good. That's the only problem with that film. It's not the fact that it was a personal story. The fact that it was just not a very good one.
Well, it's weird because people generally like it, so it's not even that. Or
Elemental. That's not the problem. Is that it's not a personal story. Yeah. The problem is not a personal story. Is because it is just a bad film.
I think it's admirable that it's a personal story. That's what I kind of appreciate about that movie. But overall, it's like a fucking horrible movie. So
have you talked about Elemental on a podcast before I was here?
Okay, so I wrote a whole thing on it again for like a 2022 thing. I've watched it like 30 times. And I feel like I mentioned it offhandedly on the podcast, but it's weird because it's the main reason why I do any of this. So oops.
It was all Elemental. That's the reason why we're all here.
It's literally the main reason.
This can all be tied back to Claude.
That's actually true, and it's kind of scary. Like
it wasn't an act of God that put the Dumps into motion. It was an act of Claude.
All right.
Dude, I've had enough time to watch the entirety of Furiosa, this entire thing.
Hey!
Funny.
George Miller would probably make a cool black and white silent film.
He would. Just don't do any fucking don't do any dialogue because you're bad at it now. Just do that.
I'm sure Fury Road is alright with dialogue.
Okay, that's true. See, we can have good George Miller or we can have Happy Feet George Miller. That's the thing.
Furiosa is definitely one of those.
Well, I think Happy Feet's more confusing in its messaging. That's the thing. It's very weird. It just wasn't hit.
Let's wrap it up here. That was the Dumps for this week.
Yeah.
We'll see you next. I don't know what we're doing next. It definitely won't be Twister, but I will make sure that will become an episode one day.
We know what it is.
Thank you.
It's so Israel's coming back and we have Showgirls and the Babadook.
Yeah, what a great pairing. It's not like I wanted it the other film to be another stripper film.
We
But,
can save it for
you
another
know.
time.
Oh,
You talk
boy.
about strippers all you want outside of this fucking recording. It's fine.
Oh my god, you're projecting.
You're projecting.
You're the one who's-
You're projecting.
No, you
I have
are.
a girlfriend. Why would I be talking about strippers?
You're the one who's using the improper use of freaky. You're the one who keeps thinking I goon all the time. That's the
Well, okay, when you're talking about how you look deeply into a woman's eyes while we continuously tell you that her story is kind of stupid, what would you think?
I mean, it wouldn't make much difference if
would make you
Furiosa was a
think
man.
you're horny.
Not horny.
Yes, you are.
She's got big
You
eyes.
own
big
a
eyes,
horny
big
server.
Intense eyes.
You
Big
own a
intense
horny
eyes,
server.
exhausted.
You own a horny server. You know this.
All right, let's wrap this episode up.
All right, we're out. We're
I'm
out.
done. I'm a critic. That's me done.
I'm Xander.
And Silver.
Wow, we sound fucking so. Man, we had to really end everything on a sour
And that's-
mood like you always do,
and that's-
bro.
And that's the
Man,
dubs. I'll see you
that's the
everybody
dumps,
next
bro.
time.
Get out,
Bye.
everyone. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.